It doesn't matter if you hate Rex or capital T-R-E-X. Just put your paws up, 'cause they were born this way, baby. Alan Grant is the man who digs the bones right out of the ground. He doesn't like kids very much and scares them with a claw that he's found. John Hammond has built a dino park. He's hoping it will be a big hit. There's something wrong with the Triceratops, and Harry Statler's elbow deep in its shit. Humans running away and we are spoiling their day with velociraptors, baby, made with frog DNA. Our only regret, we haven't eaten you yet with velociraptors, baby, made with frog DNA. You can't run away, you won't last a day. We're made with frog DNA. You can't run away, you won't last a day. Velociraptors, baby, made with frog DNA. We are bad, we are mean, we are bad, we are mean, we are bad, we are mean, we are bad. You might think you got the upper hand because you see me standing here in this bush. But you ain't seen my friends to the sides who lead you because you are a douche. You wanna see nature's muscles flex? Wait until you see that great big T-Rex. She shakes the ground with her big stamps, and she will make you shit your pants. Humans running away because we're spoiling their day with velociraptors, baby, made with frog DNA. Our only regret, we haven't eaten you yet. We're velociraptors, baby, made with frog DNA. You can't run away, you won't last a day. We're made with frog DNA. You can't run away, you won't last a day. Velociraptors, baby, made with frog DNA. Must stay very still. Its vision's based on movement. Oh shit, I forgot about its sense of smell.
Right, okay, well, welcome to Blackdog number 144.
44.
144. Key of the door or something.
Yes.
I'm going to call this one Vegisaurus. Just because a lack of inspiration until we get feedback.
I was going to say we may get another title. So running title
is Vegisaurus. And any other titles may vary.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, my name's Lee.
And my name's Darren.
And that's T. Yes, so this week we are going to do a little bit of news, a little bit of chat, usual shit. And then we're going to review Jurassic Park.
The dinosaurs ruled the earth.
With this, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Before we do that, before we get into that, and I've got myself all tangled up in the cables. Before we do that, let's find out how everyone's week was. How's your week, Darren?
Well, my week.
I drink tea.
My most interesting bits of news chat.
You got lots of interesting.
I've got
bits.
lots of. Well, I've got some interesting.
You
bits
got a
of
news
chat.
felch.
I have, yes.
News felch with Darren.
So, Sunday. Myself and Laura went out to try and go to the London Dungeon Boot Fair.
Right.
Okay, and we just basically got there far too late because everything had gone. There were people buying armfuls of stuff and it was all gone.
Yeah, a friend of mine at work went to that. He got there at 6 o'clock in the morning and they were already halfway sold out.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It should have been basically, seeing how popular it was, they should have just said to people, look, the maximum of 2 things per person, because there were people coming out with fucking trolley loads of stuff. And it's like everybody was queuing around the block. I don't think the market there is that actually that popular normally.
No, it's not. But the goths of southeast London were all very, very happy, I'm sure.
I'm sure they were. I'll tell you what though, had I had the money, I would have bought the throne that they actually had there, this like Gothic throne, and just sent it to Mr. Spry all the way out there in Bristol land, because it just, I looked at it, I thought, Rob.
Yeah?
It's his kind of chair. It's the sort of thing he would have in his house.
Right.
Had he got hold of it. I think had he been there, he would have bought that off him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real sort of like spikes and shit all over it, like all really sort of scary Gothic type thing this thing was.
Cool.
People were sitting in it and having their photographs taken. So,
but not buying it.
No, not buying it. The only thing that I did get from there though, from this boot fair, was actually a copy of Grand Theft Auto Vice City for £2 on the Xbox.
What, from the London Dungeons?
No, from the actual boot fair that was around, because it's a normal boot fair anyway, so we went around and had a look at stuff.
Ooh, here's the copy of Vice City they never wanted you to have.
Ooh. What's so torturous about that? Have you tried playing it on the Xbox? Ooh.
Have you seen the gunplay?
Indeed. Ooh.
There's some graphical daring, which is a complete nightmare.
And there aren't any patches for it anymore. Ooh. So there we go. We got that. But as we were going to the boot fair, myself and Laura noticed there was a bit of a commotion going on in Whitehall, where all these people standing around, all these people with like walkie-talkies and donkey jackets on with like glowy bits on them just to keep everybody back. And Laura went, I think they might be filming. And lo and behold, as we passed one street, went into another one, there are all these sort of like catering vans and stuff like that, all with like, film crew written
Lawrence
on them.
Fishburne had turned up.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was in London for the day. So
that was his packed lunch.
That was, yeah. Meals on wheels. That's what it was for him. But the guys with the pies. There we go. That's what they should call them.
Guys with pies.
The guys with pies.
For Fishburne's thighs.
Yes, indeed. Mates. Oh, no, I'm not even going to bother rhyming
gives him
that.
a size.
Yeah, and stuff.
You can't see his eyes. On
Anyway,
a
drawing it back in. Okay. After we've been to the boot fair, we thought we'll go and stop by and just see what's going on. And we did. And it was like, they're definitely filming, because there's all these like camera crew down this one street that's been blocked off.
Yeah.
And there's loads of people dressed in army gear, and there's all these army trucks all down this street. So we finally got a sensible answer out of one of the actual security guards that were there. We said to him, so what are they filming? And he said, they're filming All You Need Is Kill. And for anybody who doesn't know what All You Need Is Kill is, it's not some deranged dance mix of an old Beatles hit. It's actually a film with Tom Cruise in it. It's the one that's coming out next year, in 2014. So
which you may have seen the promo still, where he looks like he's wearing a Starship Troopers helmet and someone's second-hand power suit.
Well, as I described it,
cosplay.
As I described it, it's basically Groundhog Day, but with fucking power suits and aliens. Because the story goes that he plays a soldier fighting in a sort of battling against an invasion of Earth, and he gets stuck in a time loop. And so what's happening is, as he keeps starting each day and goes through each day, he's remembering what's gone on before. So he's getting more and more skillful with the weapons as he's going on, and he's learning more about the actual plans of the aliens. So I'm guessing there's going to be some big plot twist along the way where it's like, they're all
actually really, they're humans. There's no such thing.
And stuff. But I did catch sight of the actual power suit. There was a man dressed in it, so
nice.
He was down the street. I've got a few pictures of that, quite blurry in shots, but you can just make out that it is some kind of big bulky body armour. So there was that. But anyway, after that we went to the Nerdgasm quiz.
Yes.
And there was myself, Laura, Martin Thompson came along as well.
Yes.
So there was only 3 of us on our team, so we needed a few other members. So a couple of other guys came in, and there was one guy who came in by himself who was like, I need a team to go on to. And we said, come and join us. Yeah. He sat down. Young man by the name of Rob Alsop. Now,
yes,
Rob Alsop has got quite an interesting job. He's actually got quite a geek credibility. He's been involved in making costumes for both the Judge Dredd films. The Sylvester Stallone one.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? So, he didn't make the film itself. So it's like, aesthetically, the film kind of,
hate
it
the
had
message,
its plus
don't
points.
hate the man.
Exactly. But, he made Carl Urban's outfit.
Did he?
Yeah. So it's like, he told me this downstairs and I thought he was talking about cosplay. And then we got chatting upstairs and he went, no, I actually made the suit. And it's like, bloody hellfire.
Nice.
So, he's been on a few other productions. I can't quite remember what he said to me because I was getting very, very drunk at the time. But I just remember I remember the Judge Dredd stuff.
Did you lean over and go, I love you?
I sort of did, yes. But
Prick.
we did the Facebook thing. I went, oh, you're a god.
You've done. So what? You got him on your Facebook friends now?
Yeah, he's me and him are Facebook friends now. So,
look at you, mingling with the stars.
Who knows if we ever do the sort of like the
Blackdog
Urban
the
Judge
movie.
Dredd? Yeah, Blackdog the movie. No, if we ever do Urban's Dredd, then I'll see if we can persuade him to come on and he can talk about his costume making abilities,
Codpiece sizes.
So, so yeah, there you go. That's my brush with fame.
Brush with fame.
Yes.
Did you do anything else while we were on the subject?
We came fourth in the quiz.
Oh.
But I blame the overdose of sugar because Dave has mentioned that his quiz was going to be a recession version of the quiz because he didn't have any prizes. It was going to be a free one. Just come
and
along.
everyone gets fired at the end.
Yeah. But we thought we'll bring some sweets along because he normally hands out bags of sweets. So we bought some sweets. But then again, another table bought some sweets as well.
Oh.
So we've got things like these, like, the sort of like the love hearts and stuff like this and bloody what's his name, the fruit salad drumsticks and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all this hardcore sugar. So most people were buzzing off their fucking tits by the end of the night. You've got alcohol and a high sugar content.
Which is, let's be honest, alcohol is essentially sugar.
Yes.
Nice. So yeah, has your blood level returned to normal?
It's come back down now, so I'm fine.
Hyperglycemic.
Yeah, no, not anymore.
Oh, right.
So yes.
Yeah, cool. Excellent.
So what about you, Lee?
Let's talk about my ongoing redundancy thing. That's still going on. That probably will still be going on until the dawn of fucking the heat death of the universe. But
you know what it is? They're going to say that's it for you the day before you actually retire.
Probably.
Where's my gold fucking watch?
Fucking going on long enough. But anyway, we'll more about that when it happens. But I said I sent a cheeky little email to Lucasfilm.
Yes.
I got a reply, and they went, "Well, we're still in a bit of a holding pattern thanks to Disney.
Yeah.
But we've seen a few positions that are very interesting, and you might be interested in. And we've got a couple of companies which we need people from our team to be working with as like brand producer, champion, look after, make sure you don't make Star Wars shit.
Ooh.
People. And so they want me to send their CV over. The CV over.
Have you done it?
Yes, I fucking have.
I was going to say because that would have been on its way before I got to the end of the fucking letter.
So that I sent that yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's gone. So more of that as and when we ever hear anything. But wouldn't it be cool? I'd actually be working for Lucasfilm. But anyway, then I could actually be. I could really descend into self-loathing.
Yeah.
What else? Well, if you cast your eyes towards the door, not that anyone can see it, but you may notice that there are two golden strips down on the floor that are holding the carpet still.
Oh yes.
I screwed them into the floor, and I did not kill myself.
Did you take anybody out? Or was there has the planet been knocked out of alignment?
I didn't go through any kind of power lines or anything.
You haven't disrupted any ley lines,
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
you've done the physical. Now we're talking about damaging the metaphysical. Yes.
Yeah, I probably disturbed some ancient spiritual burial ground underneath the house, and it's probably just going to fold up like something from fucking Poltergeist.
Yep.
This house has been cleansed. This house is clean.
But anyway, then I've watched quite a few films. But yes, I did watch Predators last night. to see whether or not what's it? Oh, fucking Fatty Arbuckle. I can't remember. What was it? Lawrence Fishhead is whether or not he looks any bigger or smaller on the small screen, and it doesn't make a blind bit of difference. He does look like someone stuck my head in a goldfish bowl and then showed me Lawrence Fishburne from 1987.
Joe, if you see the action figure of him from Predators, or the I think it's like a 14-inch fully posable figure.
Yeah.
It's like they've been very kind to Lawrence Fishburne. They can't quite get away. He looks a bit like one of the Easter Island statues with a small body put on underneath, because they've made the body all toned, but they just couldn't do anything with the fat face.
No.
So yeah, he's got a face that's almost the same width of his shoulders.
It's like Juggernaut from the X-Men.
It is, yes.
But what I noticed this time round is fucking Adrian Brody's nostrils. Jesus Christ almighty, it's like the Arc de Triomphe attached to his face.
That is how he moves so quickly. You do know that, because he glides. That's what it is.
Well, actually, I was thinking more of the fact he's actually got like the Event Horizon engines up his nostrils. It's just, they were fucking enormous. And every time you see him and he goes, which seems to be 99% of his script.
He does that in a lot of films.
But no, when he's trying to be hard.
He does that I think he does that in Hollywoodland, actually.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Look at that nose. Look at that nose. I've got vertigo looking at that fucking nose.
Let me guess, it started raining in the jungle and they all went for shelter underneath it.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. Did
it make that umbrella opening sound when he flipped?
As he fell off, as he fell off the cliff, he floated down very gently like a dandelion seed.
Would you like to fly in my beautiful
nostrils? Anyway, so there was that, and yes, it's still a shit film. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. It's fucking dire. I mean, it's not the worst I've ever seen. It's certainly not as bad as any of the AVP films, but it's still pretty fucking lackluster.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else was I going to say? I did see another film, but Lesbian Vampire Killers.
Are we doing that as a shit cover? Because I've never seen that film.
Jesus
I've avoided it like the plague because
Christ,
we're both in the same camp where Horn and Corden are concerned.
Yeah, they're about as funny as anal cysts.
Do you know what? I will give them their due. They were good together in the BBC Three thing they did. What the fuck was it? Comedy show they were in. Gavin and Stacey. They were paired well there, but it's kind of like lightning in a bottle for them. I'm afraid it's everything else they've done together.
I mean, seriously, you could see what they were trying to do. They were trying to do Shaun of the Dead, but take the schlock horror route. And you know, every shot. It's funny because it's like, it's the kind of film a 15-year-old would absolutely love because it's got lots of very hot women with their tits out.
Does it?
Yeah, lots of women with their tits out. But the funny is not there, and the gore is pretty shit, and the action is really badly handled. The gags are pathetic, and the finale just has you going, oh, just fuck off. Just please, I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't care. This is just like, it's like being fucked in the eyes by a rabid rat. I mean, it's just really not pleasant film to watch. And it's just so unfunny. It's anti-funny. It's like if you put that in a room with
funny
with the box set of Community, basically the entire universe would explode and there would be nothing left because all antimatter and matter would just be wiped out.
Oh right.
It's just horrible. It's just a shitty film in every way and shape and form. I mean, it's okay if you want to stare up girls' skirts because they give you enough time to do that. Because every time one of the girls, before they become vampires, you'll always get a shot of them stepping over a fence or stepping over a chair, and there's always the camera's just at the right height. You get a little tantalising glimpse of a bit of, and it's just like, oh right, okay, that's fine. And at first it's like,
that's cheeky.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a fucking Brighton postcard. At first, you're kind of like, whoops, naughty. And then by the end of it, you're like, oh, fuck off. You know, show us some minge or get rid of it. this office piece of shit. Anyway, so I sat there watching it, and I tried to do some feedback for Sean and Melissa on the question about.
I heard your feedback on there.
and I was just
I'm
like-
watching some shit film called Lesbian Vampire
It's just
Killers.
so distracting with how terrible it was. And then the final shot, which is obviously lining up for a sequel, was just even worse. I'm just so glad nothing came of it. But anyway, it's gone on the list. Trust me, it's gone on the list. But I can't watch it again for a little while. So you've got at least
You've heard it first, people. We're doing lesbian vampire hunter
killers at
thingy.
some point. At some point, not in the near future, because I couldn't watch it twice in a row. I'd just be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that. What else? We had our had one of Carol's cousins come round to stay for the weekend, and then we went up to London when you were watching Tom Cruise run around in some plastic tubing. We were in the aquarium. Yeah, it was a nice time. We went up London Eye just as the sun was setting. That was quite nice.
Ooh,
It was very nice. Other than that, not a lot really. I've just been doing lots of shit on LinkedIn, and I've been doing lots of shit on fucking Vimeo, and
You've been taking pictures of you doing a shit and putting it
Yeah.
on LinkedIn.
I've been.
Here's my resume.
Yeah. I have made sweet corn into a smiley face.
And now I will draw the Arc de Triomphe in my poo.
Exactly.
Don't know why I said the Arc de Triomphe.
Hire me. Yeah. So there's that. Other than that, there's not a lot been going on. Yeah. Oh no, that's it really.
Didn't you go to a certain event last week?
Oh blimey, yes. Oh yeah.
Jesus
Sorry,
Christ, you
sorry.
are a bad father.
I'm not a bad.
You are
father.
a bad father.
Oh, okay,
You
okay.
are a bad father.
Do you know why?
Bad
it's
father.
because it was really, really cool, but I couldn't help but feel ever so slightly conned. Basically, right, we went to Katie's been doing a load of choir practice at school.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing at the O2 called Young Voices, where they get all the choirs to come and, basically perform.
Yes.
And so then they say, Mums, Dads, hey, your kids are going to be performing at the O2. And it's like, right, cool, brilliant, fantastic. Let's go. And you go, and then you realise that it's not just them. It's the other schools as well. And it tots up to, roughly speaking, about 1,000 kids.
Christ.
Right? Now, that's cool. That's cool, and they do lots of songs, and they do lots of medleys that kind of always finish just before the song gets rude, which is really funny. So it'd be they did have Born This Way,
Yeah.
so just before it starts to get into all the sort of gay lesbian, it's all fine to be whatever you want,
Yeah.
kind of lyrics. It's kind of light track, baby, I was born this way. Get your motor running, head out on the highway, and it's like. Okay, fine. But then before, Born to Be Wild gets into sort of drug references, then we're off to, That's Right, Tiger Feet by fucking Shawadi Wadi or whatever it was. Or Mud.
Murd. Yeah.
Anyway, and it just kept going like that. And it's like kind of like just see where the writer was sitting there and going, oh yeah, 8-year-old kids are going to be singing this. Fucking hell, scribble, scribble, scribble. Let's make this a medley. But the worst bit was that the kids obviously can only perform for a certain amount of time. I know this from work. You can only have them actually perform for a certain amount of time before they have to take a break, and so even the choirs that have been practicing have to still be legally told to sort of not sing. So they had to sort of fill the gaps, and they had this guy called Ronald or Reginald, and he was basically like the funky star of the show, and he comes on and he's like, yeah, and he gets a big old fucking intro. He gets this big old thing of like, when he was 7, he dreamed of being a star. When he was 8, he was recording his own music by mixing it together using 2 tape decks. He used to take a record player, play one into another, and feed it back over another to make his own unique brand of music. And he's here today, up and coming star Reginald, what's his face, Dubrew, Flam, whatever. And he turns up, right? And he comes on, and he obviously fancies himself something rotten.
Yeah.
All the families are like, okay, impress us. Now, bear in mind, you've got 1,000 kids, you've got the O2, you've got on average about 4 people in the family per kid.
Yeah.
So you got like you've got an audience that's there, of about 5,000 to 10,000 people who are waiting to see their kids sing. They are not waiting to see a washed up hip hopper try and somehow win the crowd over and sell his DVDs.
Hold on. This Reggie bloke, he's not on CBBS, is he? He's not that Reggie that I'm thinking of.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. Let's put it this way. If he's been on, I haven't seen him. I've never seen him. And he comes on, and he's like, yeah. And he goes, now I'm going to take you through. And the music and all goes, woo, and the lights come down, and he's in this little spotlight. And he goes, I'm going to take you on a journey of sound.
Jesus Christ.
And he goes, I'm walking through the forest, right? And he goes, and he's like, right, okay, where are you going with this? And he goes, I'm looking up at the trees. He goes, I can hear the birds tweeting. And they're fluttering through the bushes. He goes, and a car goes past. And then he's like, and then I see it. I get in my helicopter to fly to a land of sound. And he's just like, hold on, am I watching a man paid to basically terribly fart into a mic? Are you calling me a cunt? You could hear like 10,000 people in the audience going, fuck off. And he went, now I'm going to give you the sounds all together to an inspirational song. And he tries to do, which we know this because the track comes in a little bit later on, In the Name of Love by U2, right?
Okay.
So, the track is like, sort of thing. And then,
no, it's Pride. Yeah, Pride in the Name of Love. Yeah. Oh, get off. He doesn't try and sing that, does he?
No, he doesn't. He tries to beatbox over someone trying to play it.
Oh, no.
But all the time he's doing these kind of sad robot movements that you would see sort of down Catford Mews on a piece of linoleum like 1982. And it's all like this. So go on, sing Pride in the Name of Love, because you've got 3 backing singers, so you can be doing it.
One man come in the name of love. One man come and go.
Peace.
Oh, fuck off.
And it's like, keep going. Get to the chorus. Come on, that's the best bit.
Okay. In the name of love.
Love.
One man in the name of love.
He was clearly trying to do it all in one breath, and he just kind of fades off. So he goes like,
So you just didn't hear somebody like in the distance just go, "Oh, fuck off."
So then what happens is he gets his moment in the sun, and the kids are obviously then allowed to perform because he's been going on for like 10 minutes with this shit, and the kids all suddenly spring up, and it doesn't matter what sort of quality of the singing is, but if 1,000 kids suddenly start singing in a big choir, it's going to sound reasonably okay or impressive depending on how you feel about it. And so that all kicks off. Then the family and the lights come up and all the lasers start flying about and all the family starts clapping along. This guy is clearly off in cloud cuckoo land, and he thinks he's in Wembley Stadium on his own, because now he's there with his arms outstretched in a Jesus pose while the kids are going, "In the name of love," and there's like 1,000 kids doing it, and it's like, "One thought in the name of love," and it's like, and he's standing there giving it all this stuff, and then a fucking wind machine comes and it's like, is he just doing this for himself? Is he just tossing himself off in front of 10,000 people? Anyway, it all comes to a close. It ends with a big sort of round of applause. He fucks off, and as he fucks off, the cheers go up. Like he can't notice that I can't do anything but notice that the cheers go up. They go, "Hooray!" He fucks off, but he sees that as an encore.
Oh no!
And he comes back on. And I tell you what, you just suddenly heard like one bloke. He all went quiet. This one bloke he just obviously had snapped. and he shouted, because you get that moment in a sort of in a theatre or a stadium where it goes so quiet that one voice can just make it right across the stadium. And this bloke just went, "Fuck off! You're shit. I want to listen to my kid." And it all goes quiet, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm on. You want me back again?" And then everyone just went, "No!" Like 10,000 people just went, "Fuck off!"
Taxi.
and he just stood there, smiled, and he just slid straight out of the shop. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. You just watch this man come on and have his dreams explode in front of him when he realises that 10,000 people actually want him to fuck off and die. But you can imagine what he's done. Then what happened was after the concert, because he comes back again later on, and everyone's just like,
he's like the Terminator. He just won't die.
But but he was far more muted this time because it was obvious he didn't want to be on there and we didn't want him there.
Yeah.
But what it turns out, because Katie and all the others obviously have to practice this thing at the O2, get them used to the sort of the whole thing. And she said that, because they've been there all day, and she said all he kept doing was running off and changing a suit and adjusting the fan. That's all he kept doing. All day. It's supposed to be rehearsing, and she's going, "Oh no, we were doing all the chorus things, and there was a man who was the conductor, and he's helping us, and we're doing all this and all sort of thing." I said, "So what was Reggie Ronald fucking McDonald? What was he doing?" And she's like, "He just kept coming in and changing his suit every 5 minutes, and then every now and again when his coat never flapped, so he got really cross, and so he kept adjusting the fan."
Out of the mouths of babes.
And it's like, that's sad fuck. You just imagine he's sort of sitting there with like fucking Earth Song with Michael Jackson playing in the back of his head.
Do you know what? If you had told me that Jarvis Cocker had suddenly come on and did his teacher.
It was.
What about Killing Fields? What about time?
But that became the sort of running gag, because now it's like, Reggie, do us the shuttle taking off. Do us the laughter of the small child. Reggie, do us a cat meowing.
He's got one impression. One impression.
Do Love's First Kiss.
He's going to milk that shit for all it's worth.
It literally sounded like he was having a gastric event on a fucking megaphone. It really did.
Oh, get hellfire.
Oh, anyway. Yeah, so that was my week.
Lovely.
I'm going to find that guy's name, and I'm going to find him on YouTube, because I guarantee you he's probably got 1,000 really nicely done sort of videos of him standing in front of a fan beatboxing to
I'm getting a sort of
New York by Alicia Keys or something.
David Brent type vibe. You know, with the if you don't know me by now. All the years that we've been through.
Exactly. It was. But it was literally like
Free Love Freeway. Free love, the Free Love Freeway.
Yeah, but it was literally like, he's like, the only thing that kept going through my mind by the time that someone had told him to fuck off explicitly was Don Simpson, the Blacks with No Soul. Yeah, it's like, Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Yeah.
Why do birds suddenly appear?
I'm BB King. Please give to Blacks with No Soul. From what's it, Amazon Women on the Moon. Yeah,
fantastic.
But if you imagine that, but up-resed to a human beatbox who thinks that he's P. Diddy, but probably looks more like he should be in Mackie D's.
P. Diddy, more like Wee Wanky. But there you go.
Widow Twanky, with a fucking fisherman's hat on and a shiny suit, and
a fisherman's hat.
Yeah.
What?
With a Burberry fisherman's hat, and he was kind of giving it all the. Which
really,
might have been a rabbit, I don't know.
You know, live the dream, man.
Yeah.
Live the dream.
Yeah. I got a sneaking suspicion he actually paid to turn up on stage. But anyway, should we do some news?
Let's do some news.
Here is the news. We've got some news. Fucking big news. Here comes the news.
Right, Star Wars news now. Don't roll your eyes like that. And I'm not just talking to you, Darren. I'm talking about everyone in the
Yes.
Okay, right. First off, obviously, we did last week say that J.J. Abrams has got the directing gig. There was a couple of rumours floating about, but actually a new rumour has just surfaced and has just been, literally, as I sit here right now, been confirmed. That basically what's going to happen is there are going to be 3 Star Wars character spin-off movies, standalone and separate from the 3 that are being made right now.
Really?
Yeah. Now, not only that, but they're all being overseen by Lawrence Kasdan, who obviously we know wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And he's also overseeing Star Wars 7, 8 and 9.
Ooh.
And we know now that the release dates are alternating. So you'll get episode 7 in 2015. You'll get spin-off number 1, 2016. You'll get episode 8, 2017. 2018, you'll get another spin-off. 2019, you'll get episode 9. And then another spin-off in 2020.
Wow.
So there you go. How's that? How do you like them onions?
Well, sounds good if it's if it works.
If it works, well, yeah. I mean, the one of the spin-offs is still rumour, but it now seems to be that the confirmation, the Zack Snyder rumour that we heard yonks back, that Zack Snyder was going to be directing episode 7. And we were all like, fucking no. Actually, it turns out he may be doing one of the spin-offs. And the rumour, which is almost certainly confirmed now, is it will be a Yoda film, standalone, and it'll be based around the 7 Samurai.
Right.
There you go. And
are we talking like, really young Yoda?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, I don't know where these sort of take place in the timeline. I suspect these are just going to be like sort of standalone one-shot episodes.
Yeah.
But they won't have any effect on episodes 7, 8 and 9. They will just be standalone movies released to the cinema.
Right.
So that means there will be 6 films within a year of within a year of each other from 2015 onwards.
Wow.
So there you go. So let's just mull over for a second. A Zack Snyder directed Yoda film based on the 7 Samurai.
I can't even begin to think what that might be like.
Written by Lawrence Kasdan. It's just like, where the fuck is that going?
You know what? I think is he directing it or producing it?
If the rumours are true,
yeah,
with that one, and I stress that the directing is still a rumour, but the rest of it's actually been confirmed on CNBC by one of the head honchos at Disney. So that got confirmed today. That's what I'm saying. That's the bit I'm reading now that got confirmed.
So there's been no hint of somebody in an official producer capacity.
Well, no. And as far as we know, that it's going to be, as far as we know, the showrunners are Kasdan, Kathleen Kennedy, and this other guy whose name I can't remember right now, but he's working with Kasdan. And the writers will write their own individual films, but Kasdan will oversee the whole lot.
Because I'm thinking, and this, I think some sort of indicator is going to come when we see Man of Steel, as to what can happen when Snyder is kind of working in conjunction with somebody else who knows what the fuck they're doing and kind of is a guiding hand for him.
We've said it before, though.
Reels it in.
we said it before, that when he's given a script that isn't his,
Yeah.
and someone else is holding the money reins, then he makes what they want him to make. He might make it look flashy, like Watchmen, but it isn't his script. It isn't his money. But when you give him his money and his script, and he can do what he likes, you get Sucker Punch. So, you know, I don't know. I think it's.
I think we'll wait and see.
Of course, we're all in the wait and see holding pattern. That much is true. But
if Kazdan's
overseeing the
if
whole
he's involved,
caboodle.
then
He's overseeing all 6 films.
We might have a hope of it being.
Yeah, he's in a kind of, to use a Doctor Who parlance, he's in a kind of Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat role. He kind of will write a script here and there, but he mainly makes sure the whole thing's got a cohesive feel. It all feels like Star Wars, which makes me think that Lucas is utterly out of it.
He's probably just sitting in his pottering shed now.
Yes, it's being drowned in money.
Yeah, or just making model aeroplanes or something. And
yeah, so there's that. The other piece of news which got leaked really, really about, well, according to this, about 25 minutes ago, is that in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of the big Phase 2 Avengers films, they finally cast the lead sort of superhero of Star-Lord.
Oh, right.
They finally cast him, and it's a guy called Chris Pratt, which obviously makes
There's a name to conjure with.
Yes, to conjure with, which obviously makes us giggle over here in the UK, but probably doesn't make as much of a difference in the US.
Okay,
but,
so who is this Chris Pratt? Do we have a picture?
Well, he's apparently, he plays a lovable dimwit in the comedy Parks and Recreation, which I haven't seen. He's also...
have you got a picture of him there?
Yeah, and he's also in Zero Dark 30.
Can you show me this?
He's the guy right in the middle of that shot.
Let's have a quick butchers.
He's a kind of... He looks rugged enough. To be quite honest, I've not seen Star-Lord for so long now. I have no idea what he looks like now in the Marvel universe. But there you go. So
he looks he's got the chiseled features, so you know, fair dues.
Yeah. So there you go. So Chris Pratt will be Star-Lord, but that also ties him to another thing, which is rumour has it that that our friend Mr. Tony Stark at the end of Iron Man 3, which will be out in May the 3rd, may well run into one, some, or all of the Guardians of the Galaxy towards the end.
Right. I was going to say, because don't tell me he's being offed or anything like this, because that would not balance well with the other big rumour that's going around at the moment about Avengers 2 and 3.
Yes, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, the next piece of news involves Iron Man 3 and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and ties back to something that happened in Avengers 1. There's been a toy fair, and as we know, toy fairs tend to leak a load of shit because they show toys for films that aren't out yet.
Indeed.
And one of the things they showed was a toy of Iron Man 3 in one of his suits, and it's white and black, and it's a spacesuit.
Ooh.
So basically, I think whether or not you see it at the beginning, the end, middle, or whatever, the spacesuit is clearly a reaction to the end of Avengers when he went into space, and then his suit basically crapped out on him.
Well, you know what? It does fit in with, because I've got indoors somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's in my stack of comics. I've got the first appearance of Iron Man's space armor. Yeah. And it's got him on the front cover with this great big thick armor.
Yeah. Well, this thing looks like the Iron Man Mark V suit, the sort of one we're used to, but imagine it painted as if to look like the space shuttle.
Right.
So there's big patches of black, there's big patches of white, and it looks interesting. But obviously you start tying these things together, and it's like, hold on, he's going to meet one, some, or all of the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxy lead character has just been cast.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 isn't finished production yet. Make of it what you will, but I suspect... I'm going to take a guess without any confirmation, so it is purely rumour, no spoilers intended, because it's just a theory, but I reckon that's our end after credits reveal.
What at the end of
Iron Man trying his spacesuit out.
and that's where he meets
Ta-da,
the guy that
Star-Lord.
could very well be.
Yeah. Now, moving on to more Avengers news in what could honestly be called balls the size of big brass monkeys.
Yeah, we're talking 2 Death Stars hanging in a sack the size of, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Santa's
A galaxy-sized
filled
sack.
with testicles.
Yes.
The Avengers 2 and Avengers 3 have apparently been it's been suggested by not Avi Arad, but who's the other guy? Kevin Feige.
There's been a few sites reporting on it, even
Yeah,
Latino Reviews done.
Yeah, but Kevin Feige is
on it.
basically the guy who's like the big executive head honcho of Marvel.
Yeah,
Basically dropping the hint that what they're about to do is lead up to the Hulk's next film, a standalone film, being Planet Hulk.
yeah. And
now,
then,
for those of you who don't know, Planet Hulk is basically a story in which the Hulk makes so much damage, causes so much problems, causes so much grief, that a Marvel collective of super geniuses called the Illuminati, which comprises of Reed Richards and I think it's Doctor Strange,
Tony Stark,
you know, basically the super geniuses of the Marvel universe, all clubbing together, bringing down Bruce Banner as Bruce Banner, and then basically firing him into space into a planet which they think is uninhabited, yet enough to sustain life.
Well, actually, they fire him off, and what happens is he actually gets
ends up
caught
going
in
down
a
a
black
wormhole,
hole,
yeah,
and
and he
ending
goes
up in this
somewhere
place.
else,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
the thing is, and obviously he has to survive, do a Gladiator stroke Conan kind of rise to power,
Yeah.
and then he has an event that basically causes him immense rage and causes him to want revenge on the entire Marvel universe,
so,
which he does in spades.
but you know what that is? You know what this is leading up to, don't you?
What's that?
Okay, this is leading up to the epic battle. This is leading up to Hulk versus Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah.
Okay, that's no, not Thor, and Hulk, not Captain America and Hulk, Tony Stark, Hulkbuster
Buster
armor,
armor.
and the Hulk going toe to fucking toe
Yes.
with one another.
So, yeah, clearly this reveals that the Hulk is kind of, obviously its popularity from the last Avengers film.
Mm-hmm.
They've obviously wanted to give him a big epic story. The only way they can do that is the biggest epic story that you have, which is Planet
Indeed.
Hulk. And so at some point we're going to have at the end of Avengers 2 perhaps, or drip fed
I
throughout
think it's
phase
going to be
3.
well. It's going to be if this happens, it will be at the end of Avengers 2, which they have to get rid of him, and
Yeah.
then it will be the Hulk 2 or the Incredible or the Hulk 3.
Because they've
whichever
already
way you want to look at it.
they've already said that the Hulk 2 will be in phase 3 of the Avengers.
Yep,
So-
and that's going to be the whole Planet Hulk thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, World War Hulk will be Avengers 3.
Yes. Balls the size of fucking Death Stars if that's really going to happen and they pull that off. Because
Well, I'll tell you what.
you've suddenly gone properly galactic with that kind of shit.
If they manage to get the rights to the Fantastic Four, then they can have
Which
Reed
is
Richards.
looking likely.
Well, fine. Maybe, because didn't they say something
Yeah,
about
Marvel
this?
and Fox are doing a co-pro or trying to do something about it right now. Because Ryan Johnson is the guy who directed Chronicle.
Yeah.
He's working on Fantastic Four right now.
Do you know what? I think it would be a very great business sort of like step for Fox to get some of this action. I mean, they've seen the
They've
money
already
potential
yeah.
in the Avengers. They've seen how much money that film just
They
fired out of it.
and they've
bloody
lost
money
and they've
cannon.
lost their last big massive co-pro with Lucasfilm to Disney.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would imagine they'd be quite up for it at this point.
Yeah, if I was the head of Fox, I'd be ringing fucking Marvel Studios right now
On
again.
speed dial.
Yeah, about those rights to those characters. Let's have a chat about this.
I'm sure we can talk. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it's been a pretty eventful week, and of course we've had Super Bowl, which means that we get to see some American football interspersed or rather some trailers interspersed with some American football. Luckily, the power went out, so we didn't have to worry about the American football. So, yeah, we had lots of trailers. We had the Iron Man 3 trailer.
I must admit, I watched that, and I actually liked it's the bit where the plane kind of it explodes or something.
Yeah.
Everybody comes flying out. You got 8 people fall out of the plane.
No,
and
it's 14. 14
Oh,
people.
14 people, that's it. And Tony Stark's and leaps out of the jet in his his Iron Man armour.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Gents Jarvis, how many have fallen out of the plane? They go, 14. He goes, how many can I carry? He says, 4. He's like, oh boy.
Yeah, but that's proper superheroics. That's like now your suit can't do everything you need it to do, and you are going to have to save everyone.
But then they kind of show you how he's going to save them. Because you see them as they're going down, they're all joining hands like a skydiving troupe.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how it's going to work.
I don't know either, but it looked good.
Yeah, I tell you, that's the way teasers should work. You don't need to see too much. You just need to see a little bit. Go, I want to see more of that. Thanks very much.
I like the beginning of it as well because they were building it up on AIC, and it's like, oh yeah, this is an expanded trailer.
Oh no,
a minute and a half.
The extended look trailer.
Yeah, and it's like it starts off and it's just Robert Downey Jr. walks up to the camera,
looks at the camera, looks a little bit more at the camera, and then pulls
looks
off his glasses,
and then goes, well, not so much extended, more expanded.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it goes into
the goes into the trailer.
Yeah.
But and then there was Star Trek Into Darkness trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. Enterprise can't fly in the atmosphere, as we've just discovered from that trailer.
No, it's
not very good at it.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the best of conditions for it. You know.
So that
there's
was
no
good.
just gliding this one in. You know?
No, there's none of that. There's none of that. Deanna Troi sort of using a mountain to break.
Yeah, indeed.
And then there's I'm good at everything. It's just like I'm just better.
I'm good at it. I'm good
better.
at stuff. Yeah, I see.
I'm better at what? At everything. Yes. So another good tease. To be honest, it didn't need to show. It didn't show you too much, and that was it. I was quite happy with that.
Yep.
The Lone Ranger one, did you see that?
Actually, that made me laugh.
It made me laugh, but probably not for the same reason.
It's just it doesn't seem to be taking itself anywhere near as seriously as I thought it was going to be, because it's the bit on the train where they're standing there and like the bloke's holding up the Lone Ranger and Tonto, and he's like, the bloke's like, freeze, and Tonto's like, no, we're going on journey. And the Lone Ranger's like, no, we ain't. He goes, yes, we are. No, we ain't. Yes, we are. And then he's holding his hand up with the chain on it, and then he sees the hook coming towards the train. He's like, yes, we are. And then you see the Lone Ranger suddenly disappear, and it's just the look on Tonto's face. Boom, gone. So, I think I'm actually going to see that.
Okay,
because I like that, the fact that there is that touch of humour in there.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be funny, because it looks like they keep every now and again. I keep seeing it, and it looks like they're trying to do Captain Jack Sparrow and Batman on a horse.
Oh, I don't know about Batman, but I can see the Captain Jack Sparrow thing.
Yeah,
but
it's Pirates of the Old West.
It could very well be. We'll have to see how sort of like Depp plays it. Yeah. But I did, as I said, I like that one little bit with them standing on top of the train. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there you go.
Blah.
So there you go. That's some news to chew over. There was something else. Oh, on the Facebook group we got announced. We put up I can't remember. It wasn't me, was it? That Paul Giamatti's going to be the Rhino in Spider-Man.
Is this
2.
actually official?
Yeah. Paul Giamatti.
I don't know. I mean,
exactly. So him and Matthew Fox. I just the thought of Paul Giamatti in a rhino costume. He's going to look like
it's Thingy Fox, not Matthew Fox.
Not Matthew Fox. Jamie Fox.
Jamie Fox.
I mean, but Paul Giamatti's going to look like. He's going to look like Death. He's going to look like an extra from Death to Smoochie, or fucking an extra from fucking.
I don't know how that is. How that is going to work at all.
No.
Do you know what? If anything, I would have said it's kind of like, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. But I would have said, had he still been alive, someone like Michael Clark Duncan would have been perfect for the Rhino. Just because he's sheer bulk
built
and
like
he can
a
actually
shithouse.
bloody act. You don't get many people in film these days who are built like that and who can actually, convincingly give you a line in a film.
Well, Giamatti can do it, but
he's not. Yeah,
Giamatti,
but
sorry.
he's not built like a brick shithouse.
No,
That's
he's
the thing,
built. He's built like someone's dad.
Yeah, that's it. It's
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know.
that's
Oh, the other bit of news. The bit I missed. The bit that made me go, oh God, no! Fucking the credits on the trailer for Star Trek Into Darkness.
Do you know what? I think this is the one thing I said, jokingly, I hope they don't, as long as they don't get so-and-so in to write it, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, because rather interestingly, they just seemed to flash the credits up really quickly, and I thought I'd seen the name, and I thought, no, that can't be right. That can't be right.
They did the equivalent of, come and look at my film, and look at this, and it's... I don't remember.
Yeah.
What?
Well, actually, there was...
Nothing.
Yeah, there's a thing on Simon Mayo and Mark Commode's podcast where they play the "and" game, which basically is like, you could pick a film, and there's always someone who lets it down. So it's like, I don't know, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's like, it's got Robert Downey Jr., it's got...
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. It's... and... Sorry. I try and think of a film with a really bad one. It's like, God, I wish I'd fucking thought about this a little bit more. It's like, name a film, any film.
Okay, well, actually, I can
Go on.
do one now. I mean, it's not a brilliant film, but, like, on paper, sounds fantastic until you mention the third name.
Go on.
Planet of the Apes, okay?
Yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan, Tim Roth, Mark Wahlberg.
And
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg, that's right, yeah.
Hey, how's your mother doing?
Yeah. Say hello to your mother. So that's it. And
I know the film wasn't brilliant, but, on paper it's like,
it.
Look at that, look at that. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
That's the plate of shit.
That's it, yeah. It's like, it's like Predators.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Brody. and Lawrence Fishburne. So, but this time it's Star Trek Into Darkness. All the cast and characters and directors and everything, and Damon Lindelof as the fucking writer. But the thing is, not even that, he's story correcting for Roberto Orci and that Alex Kurtzman.
It's the usual Star Trek Illuminati.
Fucking hell, my brain. Orci,
Orakai or something like that.
Or Robert Orci and Kurtzman, Alex Kurtzman, who, let's be honest, weren't the best writers in the first place, but they did have a massive stinking Cleveland steamer on their resume, which is they wrote all the Transformers films.
Oh, really?
But then you sort of think, well, J.J. Abrams kind of held them off of that with Star Trek. Unfortunately, now what has happened is he's brought Damon Lindelof in to correct everything. So everything's going to be a mystery box. Woo!
I'm
really trying to keep positive,
I'm
but
still going to see it, and I'm hoping that we're going to see this as, all right, it sounds like, he's been reeled in a bit and hasn't gone mental and turned it into fucking Prometheus with the Starship Enterprise.
I tell you what, if that as soon as I saw that name, I was just like, oh, fuck. It was going so well. But now it suddenly makes sense. Why John Harrison's a big mystery. Why is the Enterprise crashing into the ground a big mystery? Why is an Enterprise coming out of the sea a big mystery? It's all starting to make sense. It's like, oh, God, no, please.
Do you think they'll have, like, every time somebody mentions something significant, they'll have a flashback? Do you think that's what's going to happen?
No, please don't do these things. Actually, I keep thinking back to the BBC when they have the little guy who does the sign language in the bottom corner. He's going to keep just waving his hands up in there and going, woo!
You know what it'll be, right?
God,
okay. Yeah. You'll have Robert Pike in the wheelchair, okay?
He
Goes to this place and all of a sudden he gets his legs back again. There you go.
God, no. Oh, God.
And he says, oh, the island is alive. Oh, I live for
Enterprise
the
is
island.
alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll
Yes.
see.
Shall we have a Jim Moon's Profanisaurus?
Let's do so.
Harwick. Euphemism. An onomatopoeic word named after the Scottish town for every right-thinking person's reaction to having to see a Uwe Boll film. As in, oh God, I think I'm going to Harwick.
Do clean that up, Jim. Thank you very much for that, Jim. And we will have another Profanisaurus next week. You can hear more of Jim on his excellent podcast, Hypnobops, which you can find at hypnogoria.com or on iTunes or on geekplanetonline.com. Also, you can get his book, The Seven of Spectres, which is on Amazon Kindle for download.
Oh, by the way, talking about Jim, just coming onto his podcast for a minute.
Yes.
When he was doing the stuff about Edgar Rice Burroughs the other week,
very
got
good
me
episode.
got me interested in the Tarzan stuff because of what he was explaining about it. And
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yeah, that's right. He wrote Tarzan.
Okay.
Right. So I went looking for the books, and quite a few of the Tarzan novels are free on the Kindle store at the moment.
Nice.
So I've picked at least the first one up. I'm going to give that a go and see what that's like.
Cool. Yes. Get a bit of Tarzan action going.
Indeed.
There you go. So anyway, I'm sure we'll hear more from Jim at the end of the cast when we come to our feedback.
Yes.
But we can't have feedback without actually having the roasting its specs preceding it. So, play the jingle.
Roasting his specs. Roasting his specs. Roasting his specs. Roasting his specs. Roasting his specs.
You're gonna watch a film you like when you were young. Sticking in the player, then send feedback when it's done. Has it stood the test of time, a classic ever more? Or has the movie lost its shine, a cinematic bore? Is it still hot? Send me what you got. Is it still hot? Send me what you got. We'll read out your thoughts on this week's roast tinted specs. We'll read out your thoughts on this week's roast tinted specs. Rose tinted specs. Rose tinted specs. Rose tinted specs. Rose tinted specs.
Oh my God! Call an ambulance.
Okay, right. Well, there you go. Let's move on to Jurassic Park. But before we do this, we have a little tiny announcement to make, which is we've been trying to think of a new format, a new little thing to stick in as the end of the show segment. So roasting its specs, shit cover goggles. It's fine, going backwards and forwards. But one of the two things have come up in the last few weeks where we've found that there are films we wanted to see, but neither of us have. So, it's not got a title at the moment. It was going to be called Virgin Visor, but we're not entirely sure we can make a jingle out of that. But, essentially, it will be a film that neither Darren nor I have ever seen. Now, that means we're going to have to start picking films we haven't seen. We don't know whether they're good or bad. And, in some respects, we're gonna have a few that we have on the list already, but obviously we do like to include our listeners in this stuff. So what I was going to suggest was, if you're on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackdog podcast, throw up there for Virgin Visor. We'll call it Virgin Visor for the moment.
Yeah, that's his working title.
That's its working
the Blue
title.
Harvest.
Blue
type.
Harvest type title.
Yeah.
Throw up there films which you think we should watch. If Darren and I have not seen either of us have seen it, then that will go on the list. And what we'll do is we'll start alternating. So it'll go rose tinted specs, shit cover goggles, Virgin Visor.
I like the sound of that.
If there's enough of them. We've got 2 in the pipe ready to go, 2 in the chamber, so to speak.
Yep.
Of films we haven't seen, and you may find you've not seen them either, so it may be an exploring experience for all of us.
Yes.
It may also be one of those things where you sit there going, what the fuck have I just watched? But anyway, we don't know, and that's going to be the fun bit.
It's like driving a bus blindfolded into hell. It really is.
Or it could reveal new sort of hidden gems.
It could be.
Could be hidden gems or rough diamonds.
Yep. So, if you find anything in the two for a quid bargain bucket at Aldi's or whatever,
Yes, exactly.
You think, oh, look at this piece of shit.
But before anyone starts to breathe a sigh of relief that next week's film won't be a shit cover goggles, tough. That's definitely a shit cover goggles.
I would just like to say I have absolutely no knowledge of what Lee is about to
unleash
produce from his oral orifice.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you about that later. So let's talk about Jurassic Park, shall we? Let me fire up my iPad. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg, produced by Kathleen Kennedy, she of now the head of Lucasfilm. Screenplay by Michael Crichton and David Koepp, based on Jurassic Park, also by Michael Crichton, starring Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Richard Attenborough, Bob Peck,
Clever girl,
and Samuel L. Jackson, Wayne Knight, and those kids I can't remember. Right, anyway, music by John Williams. Sorry, anyway, and released by Amblin Entertainment and Universal Studios. It was released on June the 11th, 1993. Its running time is 127 minutes. It was made for $63 million.
63, wow.
It made, domestically, in its first run, box office, $914 million.
Fucking hell.
So there you go. So I'd say, roughly speaking, it was a success.
Yeah, I should say.
Yeah. The film was originally conceived as a screenplay by Michael Crichton way back in the 80s, while he was still in college. And he had basically an idea of, well, let's be honest, it sounds a bit Mary Jane or Mary Sue, I can never remember the name. But basically it's about a school graduate who creates a dinosaur. He continued to wrestle with the fascination of dinosaurs and cloning until it became the novel Jurassic Park. Even before publication, Spielberg had learned of the novel in 1989, and he and Crichton were still working on a screenplay that would eventually become ER. Before the book was even published, he knew about this, and Crichton, having brass balls very similar to Marvel, actually discussed the screenplay and then sold it in a non-negotiable fee for $1.5 million.
Wow.
To Warner Brothers. Tim Burton and Sony Pictures and Richard Donner and 20th Century Fox all bid for the rights, but Universal eventually acquired them in 1990, and they did that for Spielberg. Universal paid Crichton a further $500,000 to adapt the novel, which he had finished by the time Spielberg was filming Hook. Crichton noted that because the book was fairly long, his screenplay had to be about 20% of the novel's content. Scenes were dropped for budgetary and practical reasons, including one scene, I have to say, that I was really looking forward to when I read the book.
Could that be the Avery scene by any chance?
No, because that turned up in Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
But actually, no, the scene where they're being pursued by the Tyrannosaur and they go into the river and they go on a boat and the Tyrannosaur steps into the river and basically the water's so deep that the head is in line with the boat. So they were actually going back and the Tyrannosaur's wading through the river, getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and they are trying to get into deeper and deeper water. And it's going and it's getting closer and closer, and its head's like literally like a crocodile on the surface of the water. That was pretty tense scene in the book, actually.
Hmm.
Anyway, after completing Hook, Spielberg wanted to do Schindler's List. And Sid Sheinberg of Music Corporation of America, then Universal Pictures parent company, gave the green light to the film on one condition: that Spielberg make Jurassic Park first. Spielberg would later say that he knew that once I had directed Schindler's, I wouldn't be able to do Jurassic Park, because he knew that the joy would have left him. So the biggest problem then was, how do you do dinosaurs properly? They got in Stan Winston to create the animatronic dinosaurs, and Phil Tippett was brought in, who done all the AT-ATs and all that sort of stuff for Star Wars, to use his go motion effects to try and create dinosaurs for long shots. And Dennis Muren, who also worked on Star Wars, to do the digital compositing and put them in the live action plates. Paleontologist Jack Horner also supervised the designs, which is kind of ironic because the velociraptors aren't actually velociraptors.
No, they're not that big.
No.
Tiny creatures, apparently.
I now know, after very many trips to the Natural History Museum, that a velociraptor that size would actually be called a Utah raptor.
Ah.
There you go. But it still wouldn't have hunted in packs. It would have been more like a hyena. It would
Right.
have just scavenged. But anyway, that's dinosaur nerd.
There we go.
Back to the book. So anyway, the thing was, it caused lots of problems with this paleontologist, because he did all sorts of things like, you can't have the velociraptors licking the air like snakes, because they wouldn't do that, which is one of the things that Phil Tippett kept doing, is having these creatures kind of snapping and licking the air and all that kind of thing. And Spielberg sort of got more and more insistent that the paleontologist was stuck to and adhered to, and all these notes were adhered to. Winston's department created fully detailed models of the dinosaurs, moulding latex skins, and they fitted them over complex robots, the biggest being the T-Rex, which was almost 70% real animatronic, weighed about 3 tons, and was carried on the back of a truck.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the leg was actually a separate thing. But it was only when they finally got to computer-generated version of the T-Rex skeleton doing a walk cycle by animator Mark Dipp and Steve Williams that Spielberg finally saw what they could do. And eventually it turned into, well, can you make this in 3D? How would it be? How would it look? And these two guys worked with a company called, what was it called at the time? I know what it became, but it was Alias.
Right.
A company called Alias, which was a development sort of software part of Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And they basically created a piece of software called Power Animator, which would later become Maya. But its first test was making a T-Rex. Once the T-Rex was tested and filmed and comped into a live action plate, which took several fucking months, and Spielberg saw it, and saw an animatic of the T-Rex chasing a herd of Gallimimus, which was basically the first that shot when it comes out of the trees.
Yeah.
That was the first CGI shot created for Jurassic Park.
Wow.
And basically Spielberg turned around to Phil Tippett and looked at his go motion fucking long distance Barnes Wallace fucking thing, and said, I think you're out of a job. To which Phil Tippett drolly replied, "Don't you mean I'm extinct?" Spielberg later wrote both the animatic and the dialogue between him and Tippett into the script as a conversation between Malcolm and Grant. George Lucas watched the demonstration, and apparently he cried, saying it was one of those moments in history, like the invention of the light bulb or the telephone. It was a major gap that had been crossed, and things were never going to be the same. So no go motion was actually used for Phil Tippett, and that was it. CGI was born as a process. Power Animator was later released as Power Animator 7 or 4, and then it worked its way up to 7 on Silica graphics machines, and then it became Alias Maya, and then Maya became Autodesk Maya, and now I sit there working on it, making fucking cartoon boxes. Anyway, The script took 5 months to rewrite until October 1991. And, taking Ian Malcolm and Alan Grant's characters and merging them together. And then after 25 months of pre-production and development, the film actually began filming in 1992 in Hawaii on the island of Kua. Eventually, it was filmed in stages on Warner Brothers stage lots. And I'm going to sort of not go on much longer because I'm really kind of going too far with the details. Critical reception. The film was widely acclaimed. High praise heaped on the visual effects, though there were some criticisms levelled at the departures from the book. Janet Mason of the New York Times called it a true movie milestone, presenting awe and fear, inspiring sights never before seen on screen. On paper, this story was tailor-made for Spielberg's talents, but it becomes less crisp on screen than it was on the page, with much of the enjoyable jargon either mumbled confusingly or otherwise thrown away. Various other ones. The film won 3 Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects, Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing. Steven Spielberg, Michael Kahn and John Williams took home Academy Awards for Schindler's List, and that would be their first awards that they won. The film won honours outside of the US, including 1994 BAFTA for Visual Effects, Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation in 1994, and in 1993 Saturn Awards for Best Science Fiction Film, Best Direction and Best Writing for Michael Crichton. There you go. The American Film Institute named Jurassic Park the 35th most thrilling film of all time in 2001. Chicago Film Critics Association also ranked Jurassic Park as the 55th scariest movie of all time. And Empire Magazine on its 50th anniversary in 2004 judged Jurassic Park as the 6th most influential film of the magazine's lifetime. It's got tons of stuff. But anyway,
we'll be here all night.
We would be here all night. There's a huge list of Academy Awards.
It won stuff. There you go. That's all you need to know.
And with that info dump,
yes,
of which some of it wasn't actually all wiki, as I'm sure you can attest there.
Mm-hmm.
Over to you, Darren. What did you think of Jurassic Park?
What do I think of Jurassic Park? Okay. I think Jurassic Park, going back to when I first saw it, for me contained one of the most awe-inspiring scenes I've ever seen in any film. And I mean literally. It was something that actually had me aghast when I watched it in a good way.
Yeah.
And it's not a very long scene. It's only on screen for something like 10 seconds. Okay, but it's where Richard Attenborough turns around and goes, "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and then it suddenly pans round and you see dinosaurs milling around
the pond.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, holy shit! It's like I'm watching a film of actual dinosaurs.
Yes,
I know they're CG, but given the heat haze and everything like that they put into the shot, it just looked so real.
It's amazing actually, because really, no one would have known there was CG. No one knew that sort of stuff was possible.
But it's just everything, the way they moved, it's just the look of it. I don't care if the dinosaurs were technically inaccurate by the way they swarmed around this place or the way they moved, whatever. It's just such an impressive scene. And that's my lasting, endearing, real big endearing memory. When everybody says Jurassic Park, I always think of that. Come to today, when I watch it now, I, like yourself, I've got it on Blu-ray.
Yes.
And I have to say that really Universal, if you are releasing Jurassic Park on Blu-ray, you've really got to do your work with the disc, because it's kind of like
shit.
The transfer is absolutely cack. Okay,
Yeah.
The bit where you've got Alan Grant and you've got Ellie standing there in front of the Diplodocus, okay, as it's standing in front of the tree and it goes up on its hind leg. There's a bit where they're standing in it and they've got it right there, and so you've got them, their heads in front of the actual skin texture, you know, for the dinosaur, and you can see the matting. And it kind of like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean it's something of a problem, because it's like the format isn't the Blu-ray format is actually sharper than the cinema screens at the time, because
Yeah,
bear in mind,
very, very sharp.
cinema at the time was on film.
Yeah.
So you'll have softness that matte lines would have vanished. But when you take the negative and put it onto a high res,
You can't just do
No.
like that. You can't go bang, stick it on there. There you go. There's your Blu-ray.
you got to clean that shit up.
You have to. With something like Steven Spielberg and Universal, it surprised me that was actually released. I think that was just like it's 100th anniversary for Universal anyway. So it might
Yeah,
have been
I don't know if it's the same on the Blu-ray box set.
No, I think that's probably a better job. But anyway, getting to that side, what do I think of it these days? I must admit, Jurassic Park is kind of, because I've seen it and I've probably seen it so many times, it doesn't hold the same thrill for me that it once did. But that's kind of like, Christmas. And when you're a child, Christmas is a fantastic thing. And as you get older, because you go through so many Christmases,
Just
it
socks
kind
and
of
disappointment.
well, it's
The
it's
sour
not.
smell of nanny.
You don't
rotting
get
in the
that
corner.
same excitement that you did when you were little, basically.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of like, it was okay to watch. I still kind of enjoyed it. I don't know. There's just, it's like, it's dulled for me.
Yeah.
So the joy isn't as great as it once was for me watching this film, which is
Yeah.
a bit sad, really. And it's like I'm sitting there building myself up to that bit by the river with the dinosaurs. And I don't know if it was the transfer or what. Maybe because I started noticing things, the quality not so good on that,
Yeah.
that even that had its power diminished for
that's
me.
sad.
Oh, it is sad because it was such. I remember it being such an awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping thing. I mean, honestly, I've never had that experience in a film ever before. It is possibly the most. Yeah, it's the most awesome thing I've ever seen in any film, and to have that diminished like that, dulled, is it is sad. It's a bit like the passing of something, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh no.
Well, I mean, because that's the thing. It's a graphics milestone. It's a visual effects milestone. It's the deaths. It's the Star Destroyer rolling overhead moment all over again. It's the mothership from Close Encounters moment. It's 2001. It's one of those kind of epochs, and it is sad if it kind of loses that power. But
Yeah,
then,
I don't think even any of those great films that I've seen in the past, like Star Wars and stuff like this, nothing I've ever seen before held as much amazement for me as that one scene in any film. I mean, I love Star Wars. I love those sort of films.
yeah,
I've got my films that I really, really do like, but in my memory, that's a standout cinematic moment, just that one scene.
yeah.
Because it was so amazing. It
Yeah.
was, it's like you might as well have just lifted up the screen and gone, look, here's some real dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That would have been the same effect.
I tell you what would be really interesting. I know we won't cover it again because, unless we go around to the best of Blackdog or something. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what would be interesting is to watch it on DVD. Because I reckon, because DVD's half the resolution
Yeah.
and the whole image is a lot softer and a lot
I think
blurrier,
it'll
I
probably be a
reckon
better
it might...
Well, my Blu-ray player, if I put a DVD in that, it actually, it kind of ups. It tries to up the
up-reses.
scale. So
Yeah.
I think that would probably be the right balance.
Yeah, because I'll tell you one thing. I mean, getting aside from the film for a second, but I'll tell you one thing. It's very telling that all the good films, the really good films that come back out again on DVD, have to be remastered.
Yeah.
Wrath of Khan needed its graphics overhauled. It needed matte lines cleaned up. Star Wars, the same thing. I think Jurassic Park is one of those things where it's so on the cusp of new technology that people don't know what they're looking for and what they're not looking for, and they just think they can get away with it. And yeah, I mean, I must admit, I was quite lucky. I watched it on my iPad, so I didn't get to see all the sort of artifacts and weirdness because I was watching on a much lower res screen. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I don't think that the Blu-ray that I got has done the film justice at all.
No.
And I think really, if you're going to release this again in such a high definition format, you need to do your work on it.
Yeah.
So maybe that detracted something from the experience for me. Although I don't think it's totally to blame for how I feel about the film.
No, I mean, so what about the actual story and the film itself?
The story in the film itself.
Because there were some very definite bits where I kind of was like, but anyway, carry on.
Yeah, there's because I remember before ever seeing the film, I actually did read the book.
Yeah,
and I remember, why is Hammond such a different character in the film than he was in the book? Because I remember him being nasty old man.
Yes,
he wasn't a very nice character.
He's a Howard Hughes fucking nut job.
And in the book, it's like the turnout for him is completely different, and it's kind of like he gets his just desserts in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he is a bit of a... that's it. And he kind of... You got served. There you are.
Yeah. Welcome to fucking nature, red in tooth and claw. Have a nice day.
Indeedy. So, but I think what they did there was, in the film, I think it must have been Nedry that they gave that... I can't remember too much about the book.
Nedry gets fucked over in pretty much the same way.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they did then.
Yeah. Because they made him a kindly old man, so they couldn't kill him off by having him being eaten in his own car after abandoning kids and running away.
That's right. Yeah. So what did I like about it? I think surprisingly, Jeff Goldblum's character still. I mean, he is playing Jeff Goldblum again. But there is something slightly different to the way he does things in this. Not very much so, but it's mostly the Jeff Goldblum from lots of other things. But I think that actually suits the character that he plays in this. I think it's probably one of those perfectly suited roles for him. Ian Malcolm. So yeah, I still found it, although I found him a lot more slimy watching it this time around.
Yeah, all the shit with the drip on the back of the hand and stuff.
Yeah. And it's like I'm expecting like another cut of this film to come out where sort of like Alan Grant picks up a fucking deck chair and beats him to death with it or something like that.
Just throws him out the back of the van.
And then you got like the closing credits. So yeah, the story itself, it's all right. It's it does the job that it set out to do. I think it covers quite a bit of the original story in it. It gets the job done. There are some things in it like, okay, so you've got Samuel L. Jackson, all right, who is kind of like, he's all right. He's not anywhere near as skillful as Nedry in his computer technology or his computer science, but he still knows a thing or two, right? He can't crack this shit.
No.
All right? And he's quite experienced. Yet we have a small girl who knows Unix.
Oh.
Okay, this is what annoys me about, but working with computers, right? We both know how things run, all right? You don't get large graphical interfaces of like big squares floating towards you, and when computers delete stuff, they don't sort of like pixelate on the screen and each pixel disappears in a line and stuff like this shit, right? And yet you get this.
Yeah.
Whoever designed that fucking system really wants to be fired, because it's like you want to get into a system quick. You can't have these fucking slow-moving graphic interfaces.
Like Carrier Command from 1985.
Exactly. Fuck the vector graphics. Just give me a spreadsheet with some fucking buttons on it, right? That does the job. That's great. Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
So I really fucking hate that when I see it in films.
It's the was it Frank Black from Millennium effect,
or in Hackers when they do that when they're deleting stuff in that, and. Oh, but anyway, that's my personal pet peeve.
Anyway,
about that. So, Jurassic Park in general, it's still a very watchable film. I still enjoy watching it, but as I say, I think my enjoyment now after all this time is diminished of it. I think it's just kind of like, okay, Jurassic Park's on. Yeah, great, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it again. If it's on telly again, then fine, I think maybe when they bring out a better
Blu-ray.
transfer,
Yeah.
you know, maybe with some extra added deleted scenes. Because that was the one thing I noticed. There's no deleted scenes.
No, but then let's be honest. It's a 20th anniversary in a sort of about 3-4 months.
Is it?
Yeah, in 4 months' time, it's going to be the 20th anniversary. You're telling me that nothing's coming out to commemorate that?
I will be very interested to see that. And if it comes out, it may renew my interest, may reinvigorate my love of the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got to say, it's okay. It's, you know, it's still watchable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Drop
Peace
the
out,
microphone,
G.
walk
Exactly.
out.
There you go.
Said your piece. I've got to say, I have to say, the inner me still sits there and giggles and squirms and goes, "Woo, yay!" at it. But I have to say, watching it this time round, it's not as hard edged as I thought it was, and it's kind of weird because it's like when I read the book. Obviously, you can't compare things to the book too strongly, but you know things have to be compromised. But
Yeah.
the book's got a real sort of nasty streak all the way through it.
Plus, it's very technical as well.
Yeah,
Michael Crichton,
yeah.
he basically explains an awful lot of stuff.
Yeah, reading a Michael Crichton book's a bit like reading the edited highlights of New Scientist, but I will say that I kind of felt this felt very soft as a film. There were bits which could have been a lot nastier, a lot harder, and you know, so when you get to the Velociraptors, it's like, fucking hell, yeah, they're pretty fucking evil bastards. But you also get scenes where it's like, you know, you have them falling about, skidding about, and, you know, generally looning about. And it's just, it felt like, I think it's because in the last couple of weeks, sort of doing a rotation on ITV4 has been Jaws. Now, it was on last night, but it was also on like a week ago, and it was also on a week before that. So I've seen that, and that is one of my favourite films of all time, Jaws.
That's one of my favourites as well.
And you just think, if that Spielberg had got hold of Jurassic Park, you might have had a very different film. And in this case, what it felt like was a kind of Indiana Jones and the Lost World. It kind of felt like a sort of Hallmark Jules Verne. Now, I'd still enjoy it. I still love it. But now there are bits of it where I kind of, and I think the other thing was that was the other film I saw. That's what I wanted to remember. I saw Bloody Westworld.
Ah,
that was it, and that is Jurassic Park, unsurprisingly, written by fucking, was it Crichton?
Yeah.
And it is pretty much Jurassic Park beat for beat, except in that one, when people get shot, they die, and they die painfully.
Do you know where Westworld's concerned?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, that gets darker as it goes along, especially when you've got just Yul Brynner and like one of the last surviving
James
guys,
Brolin.
and it's that whole thing of him trying to track down James Brolin, that unstoppable. But I mean,
the Terminator.
We'll probably do Westworld at some point. I'd like to, and Future World. I'd like to do both of those.
Yeah, not so much, but yes.
Well, no, we could have the rose tinted specs, shit covered goggles.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But it was just interesting because I think a combination of watching Jaws, like twice, watching Westworld once, and watching Jurassic Park, it was like I'm watching three corners of the triangle. It's like I'm watching soft and cuddly Jurassic Park, Jaws meets Westworld over here. I'm watching Westworld over there, and I'm watching Jaws over here, and I think that looking at those two films, I would have expected a much harder film. But that aside, I sat there watching Jurassic Park, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because there's something about Spielberg's directing when he's kind of off the reins, and I mean off the reins by just having fun, that kind of always just tickles like my inner 8-year-old, not in the inappropriate Jimmy Savile way, but I'm talking about just he just has, I don't know, I mean, some people call it schmaltzy, some people call it mawkish, and all those criticisms are valid, but for me it always just touches the right nerve
Yeah.
And it just gets that little sense of wonder, and I think he shares the same sense of wonder that for things that I do. So the bit when the T-Rex comes out and they're just sitting there and they watch it walk past the car and it kind of and it strolls off, and it's like it's the most terrifying thing you've ever seen. But on the other hand, you just want to keep staring at it. It's like, fucking hell, look at that. It's a fucking T-Rex. Whoa.
I think it's that that bit where you've got Alan Grant trying to, he's fucking trying to distract it, and it turns around and it goes into that low
and it just
low stance
glares
and
at him.
growls and fucking barks at him, and then it's kind of like you literally see his brain saying to his bowel, all right, you can loosen now and just let your contents go.
Don't worry, it's raining. No one's going to notice.
Exactly. Yeah, just a little bit of pee. Don't worry, man. Don't worry.
Don't
Shit
worry.
yourself, just say you fell in the
No one's
mud.
going to notice. And it's like, how cool is that? It is.
It's still a very effective scene.
And that's the thing. All the scenes are cool. I mean, I don't like the kids. I'll be honest with you. They wind me up, and they just seem to be sort of fulfilling the Kate Capshaw role from what was it, from Temple of Doom. They have to stand there and scream.
I have to ask though, right? Put yourself in the places of those child actors, right? How would you have felt doing the scene in the car when the T-Rex comes through the fucking roof? I would have. I don't care. It's like, I know it's a film and I know it's an animatronic sort of like, T-Rex, but I think I seriously would have messed myself. It's just I can't do stuff like that in rides and stuff. I don't do the touchy, the rides that touch you, the ones that like, or things under the seats and shit like this. I think I would have seriously had a heart problem after doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
I have no. Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. I mean, I just. Yeah, I mean, I thought all the dinosaur stuff was well executed. The CG stuff was really well done. It still stands up today, 20 years later, and there's stuff in that which I still hold up as the benchmark. I genuinely don't see some films even today making some of the marks that film did. Because because it does one thing that a lot of films these days don't do, which is it just used CG as a tool. It didn't use it as this is the reason to come and see the film, which sounds odd given Jurassic Park, but actually the CG, all it did was blend between animatronics. It didn't really
that was
give
good
you
as well.
Because that's the thing, you never really saw more than like a few seconds of CG really. Because it took too long. But the main body of that film was carried by animatronics. And the reason that the animatronics work so well is because there was bits of the animatronics that were covered up by CG and patched over. And I don't know, it just was working for the story. It wasn't the story wrapping itself around wasn't wrapping itself around the dinosaurs and going, look, there's a dinosaur. The Velociraptors had a character, whether or not they were made in CG, animatronics, whatever, but it was really well done, especially that bit in the kitchen, which I think is fantastic.
Do you know the standout bit in the kitchen for me in that? There is a very annoying part in that, and that is just the fact that the fucking things open the door using the door handle.
Yeah.
That just makes me grind my teeth every time I see that.
To be quite honest, that doesn't bother me. I just go with that. But yeah, I can understand
It's
what you're
kind of like,
talking
oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? No, the bit that I always remember from that, and it's the one bit I always like, I keep watching and expecting, is a bit where you see the feet of the Velociraptor and it walks in and then it just does that tap, tap, tap on the
its
floor.
toes.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those iconic things for me, you know?
Well, actually, the bit that I always take away from that scene is the bit when they climb up through the roof, and there's just that bit when it climbs up and the ladder falls down, and you see the raptor fall down, and you get that shot where it hits the ground and it's lying on its side, then it flips over and it kind of jumps up to bite her, and just as she goes in, it's like, proper puckering arse time.
Little bit of
Squeaky
trivia
bum time.
about that scene. Okay. I only noticed this because Laura pointed it out to me. Okay, she does the usual IMDb facts and figures thing, and she's saying that the bit where the girl actually climbs up through the roof, right? It was a stunt woman. Right
Yeah.
now, instead of refilming that scene, because what the stunt woman did, she made a mistake. She looked up at the camera. So what you did, if you watch it, you'll see they've composited the girl's face on it, and it's not convincing at all. But
No.
if you don't know it's there, you don't notice it
It's
at
the
all.
misdirection because you're looking at the fucking Velociraptor behind
Exactly.
her.
But next time you see that scene, just watch it, and you
Oh,
see
no,
how
no.
badly it's done.
No, don't do that.
It's just like somebody put a paper mask with elastic bands.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, so
Once it's been seen, it can't be unseen. That's the worst bit with that shit.
exactly.
Oh man.
So yeah, that was kind of. You would have thought they would have just gone, all right, cut, do that again this time. Don't look the fuck up, you silly person.
Well, Spielberg's got a thing for filming really quickly.
yeah,
So maybe that was just a time constraint thing. I mean, there are things that do annoy me. I will say there are things that do annoy me. The primarily all focused around a T-Rex.
right.
Firstly, the fucking thing makes the ground shake. It makes water ripple from miles away. I mean, it's that fucking big. It's like
Well, they
three-
give it weight.
Yeah,
That's it,
it's
you know?
3 tons worth of killing machine running at 30 miles an hour. It's making big steps, right?
Yeah,
How does it sneak up on the Gallimimus out of the trees? How does it sneak into the final hole without anyone noticing? I'm sorry. The Velociraptors, ultimate hunters, working teams, know where everything is. People standing there listening out for everything because they're being hunted.
Yeah.
And yet a 3-ton, 25-foot high T-Rex manages to sneak through a hidden back door.
Well, didn't you hear that the sound before it actually gets a Velociraptor? Of That's just, if you listen carefully, it's on the audio track. You can hear it.
And how did it fucking get in there? I mean,
Tiptoes. That's all it was.
Jesus Christ. And then it does it on the Gallimimus as well. There they are behind the trees, and then
Yeah.
suddenly it goes boom and it comes out the trees. It's like, but you didn't hear it before,
Like I said, little tiptoes.
And then the other one is,
That's why it's got those arms like that. 'Cause
and the other one is the T-Rex paddock.
yeah,
Now, when you see the T-Rex paddock, you see the poor old goat, just sitting
Yeah.
there in the pissing rain before it gets eaten, right? It's in line with the car, correct?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, so that they can sit there and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
The T-Rex, you see its head above the railings, right?
yeah.
Then it pulls the railings down because the railings have
Because you hear
broken,
twing, 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 twing,
Yeah.
twing. Yep.
right? So the question is, how does the car go over the wall and fall 70 feet? Because there shouldn't be a drop there.
Oh.
Because there shouldn't. There is no drop there. Because we just seen 5 minutes ago there was a goat and a T-Rex with its head above the fence. And in fact, you even see it come through the fence, step onto the wall, and step off the wall and walk around. And yet somehow, magically, by the time the car goes over that hole and falls through that fence, there's a 70-foot drop, storm drains and trees, and a canopy at the top.
Oh, by the way, I've got a quick question for you.
Shut up, that's why.
No, imagine you're stuck in a car,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
And you've got a T-Rex on the outside. What do? Do you just shut the fuck up and hope the thing just walks away? Or do you get out your halogen fucking spot laser beam torch, okay, and shine it right in its fucking eyeballs?
Well, in fairness, it's kids and they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
But her brother's like, turn the fucking light off.
Yes, I mean Lexi and whatever his name is, fucking twat. I don't know his name, but I didn't like the two characters at all because they were too much like, hey, we're going to humanize him, and
Yeah.
Alan Grant doesn't like kids, but by the end he will.
He'll
And,
love kids.
and you know what? I go back to the fact that it did feel like it was a film where Spielberg was changing from one director into another. I mean, the whole thing about
Yeah.
Schindler's List after this kind of sort of underlines it, because that film could have easily had Harrison Ford as Alan Grant in it.
Well, he was
Not-
originally,
Yeah.
he was asked, wasn't he,
And
to play
not-
the role.
Yeah, and not have kids and have a proper Indiana Jones versus dinosaurs fucking romp.
Yeah.
And that would have been perfectly fine. I think that would have been perfectly fine. But we had to have the kids. We had to have the sort of kindly old man. We had to have all these little sort of extra mawkish bits that Spielberg does. And, and again, I'm completely cool with that. But it's just like, I know you just noticed the time,
I've just
haven't
noticed the time, yes.
Yeah. So we'll move on to feedback in a minute. But anyway, I will say, I watched this time. The bits with the T-Rex still bother me. Sneaky T-Rex, Ninja T-Rex doesn't Ninja T-Rex really doesn't work for me. I still love all the dinosaur stuff. Yep. I hate the kids. In fact, I hate the kids even more now. Fucking Nedry's business. That really bothered me. The whole thing with Nedry was still to this day bothers me because it's that whole thing of he's clearly fucking doing something and everyone's just sitting there staring at him. It's like 3 people in a room and one suddenly starts acting suspicious. It's like,
and then like,
and everyone's
just going to the
like,
machine to get some drink. Would you like some drink? I'll get you some drink. Shall I get you some drink? Would you like some drink?
Yeah.
I'm going to get some drink.
It's
Would you like some drink?
For fuck's sake. No, you're, 5 minutes ago you were complaining about not doing enough work. Well, fuck off, sit down. And and I gotta say, Bob Peck, love him to death. God rest his soul. But his character,
there's an inconsistency in his character.
He's so obsessed with the fucking raptors.
He's so obsessed that he suddenly forgets everything he knows about raptors.
Yeah, because he explained it. He explains how they hunt. He explains what they do, and then he even says, "Oh, they're the most dangerous people in the world. They're
you'll be looking at one over there, and then 2 come in from the side and kill you."
Yeah. And then on top of that, he's like, "We're being hunted." And he's like,
over there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll never make it across that paddock. And then he goes, run. Yeah. It's like, what?
Your bait.
Yeah, exactly. What? And so, the whole thing of getting to the power supply and fucking
him standing there building his 14-foot gun. It's like, I'm just gonna take this out and I'm gonna unfold this bit and click. Yeah, but it's click and click.
And that's the thing. It's the butt of the gun. He could have just used his shotgun.
Just fucking stick it in its mouth and pull the trigger, dude.
Yeah. Oh man.
But it's this, that line. Okay,
clever girl.
Were I rewriting this film, I'd change it to, oh, what a stupid twat. It's like, because that's what I've been.
Just be like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a few bits and pieces that niggle. Still, it's not my most favourite of Spielberg movies, but it is like Raiders, like Jaws, like Duel, like Close Encounters, all of which I consider to be his films that I love the most. They all just press that wonder button on my brain that for some reason I cannot fight that, and I just go, you know what, fine, you know what, there's failings here, but I'm just gonna fucking go with it. It's a classic. So there you go. Yeah, but watch it next time. Next time you watch it, where's that ladder for that fucking T-Rex, and how does he manage to sneak in everywhere?
And how does that Velociraptor get behind those pipes?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck happened there?
In fact, how did Samuel L. Jackson get behind those pipes? Seeing as he was just an arm.
Yeah. Where's the rest of him stuffed? That's what I want to know.
Badass motherfucker, stop it with this hack of shit.
He's wearing his arse as his own hat now. It's just fold him up. There we go.
Yeah. Nick Fury, agent of shit.
Well, it keeps his ears warm.
Dear. And with that, shall we move on to some feedback?
We better do, yes.
We better move on to some feedback.
We need to.
Right. Okay, let's move. We're going to rush through the feedback because it is... What time is it, Darren?
It's 5 to 1.
It is 5 to 1. Yes. So...
let's go for it.
Let's really barrel through it. So, apologies if we barrel through this feedback, but we do have to get through it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So... unfortunately, we've got Jack P. Starro, whose feedback actually says, shorter, I'll give you cunting shorter.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, There you go.
Here goes the 14-foot scroll.
Yeah, we'll get this. So he says, oh God, I fucking haven't got my glasses.
Speed read.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I thought this film meant.
Yeah. I liked it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Right, so he goes, okay, lads, I heard your simpering pleas to rein in the feedback length and stop blasting great sticky gouts of Bont's jism quite so messily over your poor squinting eyes. So, very well. Oh, that reminds me. I was amused to hear that one of your earlier casts about choosing glasses because laser surgery sounded horrible. Well, harden up, sunshine. What you described is fucking nothing compared to my horror story. I'm still glad I went through it, even though even with the hydrochloric drops, the spatula scraping at my necrotizing cornea, and the burning hair smell chaser. Not to mention the subsequent week of agony in a dark room, feeling like I've been given eye drops of ground glass and lemon juice. Whoops, got a bit of frothy in the mouth. Forgot my manners there, gents. Pardon. So, yeah, concession, eh? Well, we're off to a good start. Alright then, seriously though, Jurassic Park. Saw it in the cinemas at the time as a teen. Really liked it for the dino action, the central sci-fi conceit, but the kind of by-the-numbers story and bland characters didn't draw me in the way other Spielberg or Zemeckis films of similar ilk preceded it had done. And I never saw any of the sequels. Shrug. It was also at the time where I was fairly ignorant of special effects, and even though I remember all the hoopla at the time about the fact that this was unprecedented CGI creature realism and was impressed, I wasn't enough of a computer geek to realise how far this was really pushing the envelope, and mostly just accepted it as good effects rather than marvelling at new technology. Looking back at it now, I am more impressed, though it does naturally look a little dated, and I can tell you when they've switched between animatronics and CG for the running and jumping shots. It still does much better than I'd have expected, although this may be helped by the smidge of the fact that I'm viewing it on VHS copy. It doesn't quite hold up as well as the CG in Starship Troopers, which I can kind of understand because the bugs have a rigid exoskeleton, but that much like CGI robots tends not to date as badly as soft fleshy forms, which seem to have be something that even in this day and age often eludes digital artists. Still, damn impressive for a mid-90s, and thick scaly hides probably help. The story was kind of ho-hum, gotta say, despite having read the book 2 back then, I remember little of it. I think the interesting bit is not that it was apparently a studio condition for Spielberg to make this Jurassic Park before Schindler's List. Oh, sorry, I'm misreading this. And you can almost feel him trying to make the film kiddified as possible. And I must say, even though I recall being a bit scared of the dinos the first time round, it seems very much like the kids' film to me watching it now. I didn't think so back then, but reassessing it now, I think at the age of 12, I probably was already a little too old for it in 1993. Hence the lack of strong nostalgia today. The cast is good though. It's fun to see Sam Jackson as a less stereotyped role. Our Sam Neill is typically great, and Laura Dern really lights up the screen with a warm energy and inviting face. I was struck, however, by the absence of stereotypical young, pretty, sexy people such as mainstream commercial films. Maybe this is another indication of the film's kiddie-eyes tone, but I find it inconceivable to think of this film being made today without an Amanda Seyfried or Megan Fox, a Justin Timberlake or Channing Tatum playing the lead roles regardless of the implausibility, or at very least filling out the ensemble cast to bring in the teen to 30s audience. It made me realise how much demographic micromanaging we're slave to in Hollywood today, and that's the kind of depressing realisation, isn't it? Curse you, cult of youth. To wrap up, I think now, my favourite moment is the climax when the T-Rex impossibly appears out of nowhere to rescue our heroes from the raptors. It's dumb, it's improbable, it's flagrantly manipulating our emotions to make us cheer for the same beastie we'd not too long ago been trying to gobble up our human protagonist, just the same as the raptors were. But yeah, fuck that. I have a soft spot for the venerable Tyrannosaur ever since childhood, watching Ray Harryhausen movies and loving Grimlock the Dinobot. So I'm the first in line to nonsensically root for Big Rex and holler, fucking get into it, son. Have it, you shifty little raptor cunts with your fucking mamby-pamby long poncy fingernails. Oh yes, Uncle Rex has got your number, my sweets. Come get some. Yes. Anyway, maybe my fondness for dinos is a childhood flashback, or maybe I should blame their preponderance in the bootylicious artwork of Frank Cho that I've been really enjoying lately, but I digress. Oh yeah, a digression. Well, that's probably a good place to stop, I reckon. So yeah, not exactly short, but short-er. Good enough? Love the cast, gents. Cheers, Jack. Thank you, Jack P. Starro.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Yeah, don't know what else to add to that. We'll move on. Do you want to read one out?
Yes, go on, give us
Keep your
give it a go.
eyes awake.
Keep my eyes awake.
Next one is
as long with
Mark-
the rest of me, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
Martin
so,
Thompson.
Martin Thompson.
Martin
Padre
Thompson.
from the quiz the other night.
Yeah.
So it says, "Dear Black Dino Doggers." Right. Okay. Probably a pastime for the Flintstone. There.
Dino
Dino
Doggers.
Doggers. Yes.
Flintstones.
Yabba dabba doo.
Yeah, using his feet to pull the car over to the lay-by in a darkened street in Rocktown. Or wherever.
Indeed. Yes. No engine noise for disturbing. Anyway, getting back to this.
Cabin lights on.
Right. Martin writes. Right, a bit late this week, so I hope I make it in there. Just finished the film and thoroughly enjoyed it. I've only seen this once, and that was years ago, but I remember the film coming out back in the 1990s. I think I even had a cat with the logo on it. Surely they're one of the most recognisable in film. It has that same Saturday morning thrills feel as indie movies, even if the script feels a bit clunky. The guy in black is the troublemaker. Newman from Seinfeld is short of money. Wonder if that will come up at all. And the girl is a hacker. Wonder if that will come in useful. If this was made today, it would doubtless be darker and full of moral wrangling, but Spielberg at the helm, he gives the film a sense of wonder, bringing out both the fun and fear of dinosaurs. So many great scenes and iconic moments. The cast do well, and I think that I may now have a thing for early 90s Laura Dern. Nice legs.
But a face like a rather angry bulldog wearing a wig.
Right.
Sorry.
The effects are still up to scratch, and on the whole,
Bulldog.
this is a very enjoyable movie full of old-fashioned thrills. It made me jump more than once too. Right, until next week, we meet on the battlefield of film or down the pub. Cheers, Martin. Thanks very much,
Thank
Martin.
you, Martin.
There you go, sir.
Yeah, Laura Dern. She was. I couldn't quite work out whether or not she was attractive or horrific. She at some points she looked really nice. Other points when she's probably up to her arms in fucking tyrannosaur poo or whatever it was like
Yeah. I think there's something definitely about her. I think in this, you know, I've not sort of like seen her in anything
khaki
else
shorts,
really, but
I think.
I think so. Yes, I think the showing of flesh kind of goes a long way to that. But there you go. And it's, I think, just the personality of sort of like, you know, Laura Dern's character as well.
Yeah.
I think, you know,
because that was a plot line that they kind of alluded to 3 or 4 times, which was in the book that was cut out, which was the thing about the dinosaurs eating the vegetation that was now, which wasn't there back in the 65 million years ago, making them sick. And it's like, and that plot just kind of appears, makes the Triceratops ill, and it just kind of goes away and nothing really happens. It's kind of like you almost feel like there's another film sort of hidden away amongst all of that.
well, they find out in the end that it's not the plants anyway that's making them sick. It's the fact that they're all pregnant. So like it goes on with that in the book anyway. So it's like, oh, so your original plan didn't work then, and you know they've done the whole frog thing of changing their sex.
Yeah,
because there's certain
that
amphibians that can do it.
They just that's right. They use a particular frog that actually does change sex in a predominantly
That's right.
single sex environment.
And it's like, oh, we didn't think this one through, did we?
Yeah, which is stupid. In some ways, you'd think, wouldn't that be the one thing you definitely want to keep control of?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes. So
moving
next.
on. Right, next piece of feedback is from Roger Schmid. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I hope so too.
Yeah, it's definitely Schmidt or Schmid.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, Heidi ho, Black Doggers. I remember the summer of 1993. I was 12. Fucking hell.
Fuck off.
How old were you in 93, Darren?
I was 24 in 93, so
I was going to say,
fuck you all.
I was 21, nearly 22. Anyway.
Fucking 12.
Fucking 12.
Fuck off. for you youth.
Yeah, welcome to the Methuselah podcast. Anyway, I was 12 and so fucking hooked on dinosaurs. So when Jurassic Park came out, I naturally asked my parents to go and see it on the big screen. Their answer was the following: "We'll buy it on video when it comes out." Man, I was so disappointed. But I checked the video store at least once a week, all until around Christmas it finally came out on VHS. I remember I reminded my parents that they said they would buy it, and after some more lobbying, they finally did buy it. But by that time, the dinosaur craze was long gone, and something else had replaced it. So when I saw Jurassic Park, I liked it, but at the same time, something wasn't quite right. Seeing it on the small screen at home was kind of underwhelming, and although the film was still great, it wasn't what I imagined it to be. Now, jump forward to December 2011. As a part of a movie festival at a local cinema chain, they brought Jurassic Park back to the big screen. And this time I got my fucking ticket. So I went, and I don't think I could pretend that I didn't have rose-tinted specs on. I was 12 again, and this time I would be fucking finally able to see it the way I always wanted to. It was fucking awesome. I almost wept during the shots of the drive over the hill when we finally see the dinosaurs. Laura Dern looking at an extinct plant, while Sam Neill's character is definitely creaming his pants seeing live dinosaurs for the first time. Fucking epic. This may be the one movie where Jeff Goldblum isn't an annoying cunt, but an essential part of the story. Still, as an annoying cunt, but what do you expect? It's Jeff Goldblum after all. We also get Nick fucking Snakes on a Plane, Bad Motherfucker, Mace Windu, Jules, Fury in a movie. That fucker is everywhere, and the world is better for it. The fucking Newman from Seinfeld stand up. Dudgeon, we got Dudgeon here. Nobody cares. Great portrait of an utter cunt. And then we have Richard Attenborough with the idealistic rich cunt who gets his grandchildren in danger because he just wants to look cool. Also, I have to say, he had the worst Scottish accent. He started off in the Highlands and ended up somewhere around about Caerphilly in Wales.
Well, ended up down at James Doohan, didn't it? There we go.
Fire Dick Van Dyke. Anyway, back to Roger's feedback. He says, but who could ever forget the T-Rex eating a lawyer on a bamboo outhouse? But I guess I should stop rambling. Verdict? This should be obvious by now, but I proclaim this film a classic and the effects still hold up, and I will keep my rose-tinted specs on. Thank you very much. On the objective side, anyone who dislikes this movie has no fucking soul and is basically dead inside, and a cunt, and not the good kind. Bye! Brackets, this is how I imagine the Brandy and Dave goodbye noise should be written. He's got B-A-E-A-E-A-E-A-E-A-E-A. Roger. Thank you so much for that, Roger.
Cheers, Roger.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad you kept them rose-tinted specs on. It's good, because I love Jurassic Park. Strange film bits aside. T-Rex hopping walls. Ninja T-Rex.
Yeah. Ninja T-Rex.
That's
why the arms are like that. I told you.
It's gonna be a thing, isn't it?
Yes, it will be.
Ninja T-Rex.
Ninja T-Rex.
Anything that just appears randomly out the corner of your eye in a film that has no explanation. Ninja T-Rex.
Ninja T-Rex is all about that. It's the new shut the fuck up.
Shut up. That's why. So who we got next?
We've got Murray Christensen.
Ah, Pie Man.
Yes, Pie Man.
Okay.
Man of pies.
Man of pies.
Pie Man.
Waffle Man.
So, Murray writes...
Golden crispy. Bad guys of history. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Let him speak.
Okay.
So he writes, "Hi guys. Hope the feedback isn't too late. Bloody night shifts. Barely know what day it is.
Oh, mind, he sent it in about a week ago.
Did he? Wow.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
Jurassic Park. This one is quite tough. This is one of the first films I remember the teaser for. I remember seeing it in the cinema and being gobsmacked. The potential, dinosaurs on the loose, the rumours of how intelligent the velociraptors were. I swear, the way some of my mates were talking, it was like they were computer hacking. I was around 14 at the time.
Yep.
Are you playing with a fucking sonic screwdriver? Put it the fuck down.
Sorry.
Donnie, put it down. Donnie, you got no frame of reference.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie. Yeah, go on, carry on.
Yeah, I swear by the way some of my mates were talking, it was like they were computer hacking. I was around 14 at the time, and I've stated elsewhere, 14-year-old me was an idiot. When I saw it for the first time in the cinema, I was blown away. So, just under 20 years later, good gods, 20 years, how does it fare? I've lurched a bit on this, from wonder to cynicism. The cynicism comes from the thin plot, occasional dumb actions, although mainly from the kids, iffy computer and electronic science, and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum both just playing themselves. In fact, what was the point of Jeff Goldblum's character at all? However, there is the wonder. John Williams' soundtrack is definitely a major factor in this. And despite my criticisms, the cast sell it pretty well too. The first view of the dinosaurs is still jaw-dropping, and I still think the CG and animatronics stand up pretty well. I think this is still what sells most of the film, the opening wonder for living dinosaurs that didn't look stop motion. Then we get the peril, and when the film gets going, and when the film gets going, runs T-Rex. Sorry,
Go on, just
okay. And when the film gets going, T-Rex attacks, the falling car, etc. All barrel on for a good while. Then we get a small break before yet more peril. The pacing is actually damn good, never tiring you out with a peril on top of peril, but never dragging in the pauses between beyond their welcome. I think now I'm older and less inclined to try, unsuccessfully to appear cool. I've settled on this being a firm like. It has its flaws, but you will believe dinosaurs can walk. Off to bed now. Keep up the good work. Pie Man.
Pie Man.
That will be his entrance theme tune now. From now on. Pie Man.
Golden crispy, bad guys are history. Pie Man.
Pink and fluffy. My pastry is fluffy.
Shoo.
Yeah. Look, Ninja T-Rex.
Oh, I love that. We're going to keep that. Right. Okay. Next one we have we have Gareth Lloyd's rather brief feedback, because it seems to be only 4 lines, of which only one seems to be particularly long.
Okay.
And he writes, "Hi guys, sorry, but I found Jurassic Park a bit wank. Thanks, Gareth."
Well, cheers, Gareth. That certainly helps us at this time in the morning.
Yeah, that I was going to say, that's the kind of feedback we like at 1:20.
Exactly. Moving swiftly on.
Thank you, Gareth. Do you think he might be a little bit sore after the Batman thing?
Probably, yes.
Okay. Do you want me to read another one, or do you want to read one?
I'll read another one. Let's go for it.
Okay. Next one is Bob Haleman Lamont.
Bob Haleman Lamont. Okay, here we go. So, Bob writes, "Dear Lee and Darren, this is going to be a short one, as there is really not much I can say other than it's brilliant."
Yay.
He didn't actually write; he just wrote it in block capital. So I just thought,
Okay,
I'd
just
add
do the
voice.
emphasis. Drama's all good.
Yes, he's the cinema of the mind. This was a film that I saw when I was really young, being 26 now. Fuck off. Fuck off with your fucking 26, you fucking youthful bastard.
We're just eating embryos and goose glands to try and stay.
Okay, being 26 now, I would have been about 7 or 8 at the time.
Oh, God.
And it used to scare the shit out of me. Good, I'm fucking glad.
Fucking hell.
And excite me in equal measures. I hope it gave you fucking nightmares. I even remember...
Bitter old man is bitter.
I'm not bitter.
Want some bitter with your lemon?
I even remember getting a couple of issues of the comic they released alongside the movie.
You remember comics, Darren?
I remember... Fuck you! Or the funny papers, as they used to call them back in my day.
I used to read Lord Snooty.
Exactly, yes. Bingo the Wonder Dog, or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. Anyway, back to this. The CGI
Marmaduke.
and practical effects have not aged jot. If the Superman movie made us believe a man could fly, then this movie made us believe that there really were dinosaurs out there. Things like the water ripples heralding the T-Rex are nice touches and send shivers down your spine, as well as ramping up the tension. Also, having the raptors as more a personal threat rather than the overbearing one the T-Rex represented was also a really nice decision. But the final shot with the T-Rex roaring and the banner falling gets me every time. It's one of my favourite scenes in cinema history. The casting is spectacular. Richard Attenborough, Samuel motherfucking Jackson, mumbly Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill, pre-Cement Horizon. But the film is not without faults. Having your entire security, including the only things keeping the dinos at bay, being linked to one computer system and not having backups to your backups is, in retrospect, a bit of a stupid move. But really, that's just forced nitpicking on my part. This is a great film, one of my favourites, and I have to say, thanks for picking this one, lads. Speak to you later, Bob Lamont. P.S. and Days Till Aliens, Colonial Marines, and the Blackdog Troop. How the fuck do I get out of this chicken shit outfit? Yes, we're looking forward to that.
We are all looking forward to
ticking
that.
off the days on the calendar.
I think it'll be if we're gonna book days to do it. I think a Wednesday or a Thursday might be kind of when we'll aim for it.
I'm gonna need at least 5 minutes on the single player just to get.
Yeah,
you know,
I think the
how
first
much more practice do you need on a fucking Xbox?
Well,
really,
exactly.
it's all the same, isn't it?
Exactly. So. I think the first couple of days of purchase you need to give us a few days just to get used to it, because as much as anything, I don't get that time to play.
We'd have to hurry
player.
up because I go away on the Sunday. So
yeah, I know. Well, you just have to catch up.
Fuck you.
She's
Fuck
fast
you.
enough for you, old man. Anyway.
That's a chicken. You gotta stab it and cut it and slice it. But you gotta show it respect.
Oh. Anyway.
Chase me.
God almighty. Christopher Walken impressions, it really is late at night now.
It is.
Right.
I'm gonna put up that fucking cookery with Walken thing again on the Facebook group. I love that sketch so much.
No, it's Christopher Walken singing Poker Face.
Oh, there's that, yeah.
That's just genius. Oh! Make the play. Anyway, sorry. This is just descending into madness now.
It certainly is.
Right, okay. Next piece of feedback is from, sorry, move it to a area I can actually see, is Mark LaHaye, who I believe is going to be our Liverpool on-the-spot reporter for The Room live. If we can convince him to go to it.
Yeah.
Go and see Tommy Wiseau. Get him to give us a soundbite.
Yep. Oh, that'd be great if he could.
Yeah. You're tearing me apart, Blackdog. Anyway, never mind. But
Hello, little doggy.
Hello, little doggy. You're my bestest customer. I did not eat him. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Anyway, so Mark. Anyway, moving on. He says, "Hi guys. Very short feedback as I'm scraping in under the wire. I think Jurassic Park. Did I like the movie when it came out? Hell yeah. Did I say fucking hell when I first saw the CGI? Yep, certainly did. Did I have a hard on the size of a small country for Laura Dern? No comment. The wife listens these days. He sees her, but he's thinking about you, Mrs. LaHaye. Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah. Just wear khaki shorts. That's right. Yeah.
And put your arm elbow deep in a pile of shit.
Yeah, you go up to your arms and shit.
Yeah.
And he'll love you forever.
God,
Sex
I've got
advice.
images of
Blackdog
strange
podcast.
rituals going on here now.
Blackdog podcast relationship advice is not relationship advice.
No, darling, pass the wrist. Anyway.
No, Parson, no.
He's alive. Anyway, sorry, go on, move, do it.
God. Okay. Anyway, suffice to say, I loved the film when it came out, and coming back to it after 10 years, I still love it. It's truly a film that lives up to my rose-tinted memories, and the CGI has held up really well. Roll on Jurassic Park 4. Well,
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, given that Jurassic Park 2 was shite. But anyway, we'll come to
Jurassic
that.
Park 2 was the one with Jeff Goldblum in it, wasn't it?
Jeff Goldblum and Vince Vaughn.
Okay, there's one scene in that one standout scene in that. One thing I remember that for always, and that will be when they're sat in the car outside the petrol station and the big donut or the big tire just goes rolling past them. It's fucking T-Rex tearing up the town, and all four of them watch the donut roll by the car. It's just
kind of sums up the film entirely. To be
exactly
honest. A big rolling donut of a film. Fucking just, I hate that film.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you know what I really, really hate about it?
Yeah.
It's the bit when it could have been really cool when they're running through the long grass and the velociraptors are in the grass.
Yeah.
And it's clear that they're saving money on special effects, and they got, like, you see a top down, and it's obviously someone running around with a lawnmower just like shaving through the grass, and then basically every time the raptors get someone, it looks like someone's got a raptor tail on a stick, and they're just hiding in the grass, and they just people just fall over, and you see the tail go up and wobble. It's like Takashi's Castle. It's just like he's gone over.
I've been attacked by a stick.
Exactly. Now, there's one last piece of written feedback. Do you want to read it out, or shall I?
I'll read it out if you want.
Okie dokie. It's from Sean McGowan of The Question podcast, which you can find at thequestionpodcast.com.
And incidentally, we won the jingle competition.
We did win the jingle competition. It should come as no surprise, really, since we tend to spend a large amount of time doing jingles, which is why we're recording this fucking podcast at 1:30 in the morning.
And, as a prize, I've won a week in New York. So fabulous.
Week in New York must be paid for by a person who wins a week in New York. Yeah.
So there you go.
You cunt.
I am, yes.
Are you sure you're going to be able to survive the flight? Because obviously
I'll be fine.
The soul has to travel the speed of a moving camel.
You just shut your face. Anyway, getting back to... oops, it's gone off.
You pressed the button, haven't you?
No, it just went off.
Oh,
right,
you
okay.
knob.
Type in your sod card and your account number.
Yeah, my PIN number is...
Hello, sir.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right. You sure you can do this
Yes,
now?
I can do this.
Should be all right?
Okay. Yes. Now then.
Do you want your...
Stop your jibber jabber. Right.
Do you want your hot cocoa, Grandad?
No. Going now. Okay. So, Sean writes... Oh, it's Sean and Melissa.
Okay.
Okay, so, hey guys, Sean and Melissa writing in. Short and sweet, Jurassic Park, classic. Love it and respect its place in film history. Also appreciate how it put the spotlight back on Michael Crichton, which ultimately led to the development of one of our favourite TV dramas, ER. But let's not go off topic.
Yeah.
The main lesson of this film is clear. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That should back up the entire podcast, to be honest.
That said, if one of us had the resources, you bet your ass we'd be making dinosaurs. We'll leave it to you to guess which one of us that would be. Lesson 2. Newman ruins everything. Final lesson. Always listen to Samuel L. Jackson. Scratch that. Always listen to the Australian game hunter. Clever Aussie.
Bob Peck.
I was going to say he had a northern accent.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of Anglophiles are you? You don't know what a northern accent sounds like.
We're going to hunt dinosaurs into forest.
Shoot her with some Tetley.
Anyway, go Granville. He would have made a great hunter in that fucking Ronnie Barker. There's a
fucking big lizard.
Anyway, getting back to it.
Go on, sorry.
And never breed raptors or any creatures with sharp teeth and problem-solving skills. Did we learn nothing from Gremlins?
Yeah.
The only thing we disagree on in this film is the presence of Jeff Goldblum. Sean believes he is golden in this and totally makes the film, while Melissa thinks that by virtue of being Jeff Goldblum playing a cooler version of Jeff Goldblum, he takes away from the film. Side note, ever see a woman with 1 minute she's quite attractive and the next she's quite ugly? We shall henceforth refer to this as the Laura Dern phenomenon.
Yes. Put that in the lexicon.
Sean and Melissa. Okay, yeah, write the big...
I've got to write the lexicon up. Thank you very much for that, Sean. Thank you very much for Melissa. What do you think of Jeff Goldblum in this film? You did say something, and I thought
him being Jeff Goldblum was quite appropriate to the character. I thought it actually suited the character well.
Yeah, you know what? There's one moment in it which really winds me up. When everyone jumps out the car and he's talking to himself. And he goes, see, That's chaos. Everyone jumps out of the car, and I'm still in the car.
And now I'm talking to myself.
I'm talking to myself. But the bit that I did like, which followed shortly after that, which is when he looks into the camera and he goes, "Is this part of the tour?" When everything's just sitting there, nothing's happening.
I do like the line when he says, this is thing goes, "This is just a glitch," and he goes, "Yeah, but in like Disney, when the Pirates of the Caribbean break down, the pirates don't get up and eat the fucking passengers."
Yes, indeed. Right, okay, so we've come to the end of our written feedback. Now it's time for MP3 feedback. We've got 3 pieces of MP3 feedback. MP3. And the first one is from our friend in the United States of America, Mr. Eric Edens, aka Meeby Squee.
Go for it!
All right, Jurassic Park, the movie that ended one version of graphics and movies and started the new generation. One thing that really stands out is its use of practical effects and blending the computer animation with it. Just keeps it very, very grounded and doesn't let you really know when it's fake and when it's real practical effects. The story, however, definitely a product of the 90s. Could have used a little bit less kids, a little bit more action. Probably could have used a little less super intelligent velociraptor opening doors and all that nonsense, but really B+, A- type movie. Definitely a rose tinted specs. Good pick, and definitely there's a before Jurassic Park and computer animation and an after. And maybe one of these days we'll have another one of these movies that we say, this is the next step in computer animation. To me, it was not Avatar, but maybe something soon. Maybe the new Star Wars. Hopefully there's no lens flares.
Let's hope there's no lens flares in Star Wars, but let's not do lens flares. Well, thank you very much for that, sir. Yes,
Indeed.
It's definitely. I think we said before it's definitely an epoch of visual effects. Yeah, it could
Definitely
be
a milestone.
Definitely. I don't think Avatar comes close to being a milestone.
No.
And you know what? It's been so long. We could actually do that as a film. We could actually have that as a film to review.
What's that?
Avatar.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was 2009.
Okay. We can do it.
Not saying I want to. I'm just saying we could. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Eric. Do keep sending your feedback in because that was nice. I like that. Just straight in, no messing.
To the point.
But anyway, it's all good. So, next piece of feedback is from Dave Jacola of the Inside Outcast. And you can find the Inside Outcast on iTunes, on Geek Planet Online, and in all good bookshops, priced $5.99 on
You can't
tape.
buy this in the shops.
Can't buy this in the shops. Anyway, but let's hear what Evil Dave has to say about Jurassic Park.
Now presenting Bullshit Analysis with Professor Evil Dave. Adapting a book to film can prove a troublesome prospect. Chances are you'll piss off at least some portion of the readership, as each person imagines the characters, the setting, and so on in their own particular manner. The Hunger Games, for instance, enraged readers within the southern United States, as certain casting decisions meant that these individuals had retroactively cared about the lives and deaths of people of color. Many of Michael Crichton's books have been adapted to the screen, such as Congo, The 13th Warrior, and The Andromeda Strain. However, it was Jurassic Park that was most successful. I believe a large portion of that success goes to how the film strayed from the novel. With Spielberg at the helm, you're unlikely to see the lovable, grandfatherly figure, a likeness to Walt Disney only somewhat less obvious than Howard Stark, chewed up and swallowed by a tyrannosaur. Moreover, the rock star scientist and moral center of the film also survives, which leads to an embarrassing second novel wherein Crichton had to account for Ian Malcolm's miraculous recovery. Even the roles of the children are swapped somewhat as to not appear sexist against young girls. This is very much Jeff Goldblum's movie. The method actor may seem to portray the same character in all his films, but he does so naturally. He doesn't seem to be reading lines. He seems to think of them in the moment. It is a strange role in that he is a mathematician, yet is dubious towards science. But then, most science fiction movies are by their nature anti-science. Inevitably, some mad genius goes beyond the natural order and plays God. Jurassic Park is such a film, sharing that major theme with such stories as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Ian Malcolm's role is as the skeptic. He seeks flaws in their system, applying the trend in mathematics at the time, the chaos theory. A bit of a misnomer. Chaos theory simply implies that should you throw a number of matchsticks for an indefinite amount of time, eventually it will form a structured pattern. In other words, much of the observable phenomena in nature result from random events and therefore cannot be predicted. A pattern emerges. That pattern repeats itself. Eventually, some mutation occurs within that pattern. That error is repeated, and eventually the whole thing snowballs out of control. That is the basic structure of the film. It begins in what seems like a controlled environment. Gradually, yet increasing in intensity and alacrity, control is lost. As events become less and less predictable, our heroes become more and more desperate. There are a few missteps in the film, though by no means do they snowball and ruin the entire thing. One such misstep is the can of shaving cream containing the dinosaur embryo. Dropped by Wayne Knight, a fat and disgusting man whose image counters those of our handsome heroes, drops the can as he is attacked by a dinosaur. The camera focuses in on the can in a prolonged shot. The sort of shot in which film grammar imbues an object with near talismanic power. This, it seems, is the setup for a sequel, yet nothing comes of it. Even still, that can of shaving cream lay in a nest of jungle foliage. The other misstep is the ending, a deus ex machina scenario wherein our heroes are saved from the velociraptors by a rampaging Tyrannosaurus Rex. It feels like a cheat. Then again, considering the themes of increasing chaos, this ending is random, unpredictable, and therefore strangely fitting. As for the visual effects, indeed they deserve every accolade they receive. For it is not just computer-generated images, it is how those tools are used to support puppetry and the like. A good special effects crew will use every weapon in their arsenal to the best effect. Practical and CGI effects cooperate to produce a film that will stand up for ages to come. And that is my maybe not so bullshit analysis.
No, not bullshit indeed. Thank you very much for that, Dave. Yes, I was going to say that actually. He did bring up a very good point about the shaving foam. Because it is like, you just see it getting slowly covered in mud. And it's like, something's going to happen from that. Something's going to happen from that. And then nothing happens from that. And then when you get to fucking Jurassic Park 2, which, as he rightly points out, is a complete mishmash. Because it's quite interesting, because obviously Ian Malcolm dying in the book, and then he has to come back, and because he survives in the film. I remember reading the Jurassic Park 2 book, which was written because of the film that was being made. And I always remember that, because I always remember reading it before knowing that the film was on its way, and actually going, this just reads like someone's just taken a film script and just put a few extra words in between. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, it's time is pushing on. Thank you so much for that, Dave. Yeah, I should have focused a bit more on that shaving foam and the chaos theory, obviously, which we didn't touch upon at all. So thank goodness for you sending that in. Otherwise, we would have missed like a good 70% of the film's subtext. Right. Anyway, moving on to the last piece of feedback. Well, of course, it has to be Mr. Jim Moon. Mr. Jim Moon of Hypnobobs and Hypnagoria.com and of Geek Planet Online and of the many netherworlds and regions of the Elder Gods and far beyond. And I think he's going to see The Woman in Black tonight. Well, last night because it's now the morning. So, Jim, what did you think of Jurassic Park?
Now then, I remember all the fuss and hoopla that greeted the release of Jurassic Park. And it was all quite exciting. We were promised the most realistic dinosaurs ever to walk the screen. And in fairness, that's pretty much what the film delivered. Almost to the extent where you could say, well, who cares about the plot? Which was probably a good thing for old Michael Crichton, who wrote the screenplay based on his own novel, because nobody noticed he'd entirely lifted the complete plot as it was from Judge Dredd's The Cursed Earth saga. Don't believe me? No, go look. They even cloned the dinosaurs in the same way by adding dino DNA to present-day reptile eggs. Now then, back then, I enjoyed the film, thought it was a lot of fun, and yes, the dinos were very impressive. However, since then, CGI has been commonplace, and certainly post-Jurassic Park, we saw an awful lot of computer-animated T-Rexes, in everything from Walking with Dinosaurs to even relatively low-budget Tish and Fipsy, such as Sliders. So then, how would old JP hold up? Well, I've got to say it held up rather well. In fact, my feelings about the film are pretty much largely the same. In that, yeah, that's fun. It could have been better. For my money, I'd have preferred the movie to have stuck more into the solid science adventure of the novel without the Spielberg family-friendly frills. I mean, I don't object to having some humour in the movie, but every now and again I think it just tips over a little bit too far into cartoony, child-friendly, yuck moments. I appreciate that in the still actually very impressive T-Rex attack sequence, you'll need a bit of comic relief. However, having the T-Rex eat a bloke who's been sat cowering on the bog does somewhat undercut the scene, rather than just relieving the tension. Likewise, to sound like Lee talking about Hot Fuzz, it did irritate me then, and it irritated me more now that while the Gates to Jurassic Park is one of several nods of the hat to King Kong, they had to spell it out for the hard of thinking. In many respects, both back then and now, I kind of wish that the Spielberg who directed Duel and Jaws had been given the technology and the budget to do Jurassic Park straight afterwards, rather than the later fuzzy-jumpered, fuzzy-bearded, fuzzy-brained Spielberg, who made this as one of his last big roller coaster blockbusters before trying to get us all to take him seriously as a proper grown-up filmmaker with worthy yawn fests such as Amstrad, or whatever it was called. However, one thing did strike me as different, and that was, although back on the day the CGI wizardry was trumpeted to the high heavens, when you actually look at the movie now, the real effects star is actually all good old practical effects done by the late great Stan Winston. And I feel, in some ways, that was Jurassic Park's real big special effects coup. It convinced a whole generation of cinema goers that what they were seeing wasn't animatronics, latex and puppets, but it all come from the depths of a computer. In all fairness, however, I must confess that I was very pleased to note on this viewing that the effects work hadn't really dated too badly at all. And that's largely because the computer and practical effects mesh together so well. It's just a shame that I don't think the plot does quite as well. And that, of course, was Spielberg's big mistake. He wanted to make a magical motion picture experience like the fabled original 1933 King Kong, and he did his level best to create prehistoric wonders on the same scale with the best current technology could muster, as had Kong. And on that score, he completely succeeded. However, what he failed to appreciate is that what makes King Kong such a classic isn't just Willis O'Brien's marvellous special effects, but the absolutely killer storyline that still, to this day, can reduce audiences to tears. Jurassic Park, however, can only reduce an audience to popcorn-eating amusement. It's a landmark film, but because of the story weaknesses, I feel it does actually fall short of being a true classic.
Thank you very much for that, Jim. That was brilliant. Yeah, I think, yeah, I should. Another thing, I'm now kicking myself for not noticing the whole King Kong stuff, especially with the gates and.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. The more I think about it, the more you're absolutely bang on. You're just sitting there going, "Yeah, look, it's King Kong. Look, it's King Kong. King Kong. Look, we're making King Kong."
Did we mention King Kong?
Did we mention King Kong?
I'll make a joke about King Kong.
Yeah, but ironically, what's funny about that is that when they finally did remake King Kong with bloody Weta Digital and Peter Jackson, they actually seem to be ripping off Jurassic Park.
Oh, boy, they did put a T-Rex in there.
Yeah, V-Rexes.
Or V-Rexes.
That's what they were called. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Right, we'll come to that another time. So thank you very much for that, Jim. Very good feedback, as ever. And welcome and stuff. And oh, bloody hell, it's like 1:45 in a boxy morning.
Yeah, let's get this finished and
Right,
go.
okay. So, Darren.
Yes.
Have you come up with a film, or shall I reveal my one for next week?
Well, I've come up with one, but I don't know how easy it's going to be to obtain it.
Is that the one we were talking about before?
Yes.
Okay, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. All
No,
right.
it's going to be too hard to get.
Okay.
So there you go. There's the kind of production meeting we have. So I thought, well, we're going to have a shit film, and Darren's going to go off to New York, so we'll be off for the week after. So you guys are going to need a time to recover, because we'll do next week. We'll do the shit film, and the week after that, you'll be in New York.
Yep.
So we had to think of what we're going to do, and I sort of thought, well, fuck it. I've got 2 films I wanted to try and inflict upon you all. And, well, I think we're just going to have to pull it out and do it. I wanted to do a film that was crap. I wanted to do a film that was pretty damn resolutely crap. But I wanted to see whether or not maybe it was unfairly lambasted as being crap. So, I have picked from my head M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
Right. Okay.
Yes. And I haven't just cut that really badly because
No,
I
of
just
course
gave
you
away
haven't.
the entire fucking plot and someone's just told me spoilers. But anyway, so yes, I've just cut out that just in case if you did hear that very graceful cut.
Hot.
Cut.
So that's cut
That's a
almost
gag.
as finely as a British porn movie. That.
Oh,
Crop.
let's never bring that up. Let's never put that into the Blackdog lexicon. Let's never do that.
Next week's rose tinted specs, or should I say,
No.
gunk covered goggles.
Oh, God. So anyway, there you go. The Happening. Mark Wahlberg, say hi to your mother for me, and all that sort of stuff. And M. Night Shyamalan on full Damon Lindelof mode. And yes, if you want to send any feedback for The Happening, send it into blackdog at geekplanetonline.com. Or leave it for us in the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackdog Podcast. If you want to leave any balls of shit in bags and set it on fire, leave them at sorry. Yes, so we'll see you next week for the Happening. Are you looking forward to that, Dal?
Oh, ecstatic.
Well, do you want to know what the other film would have been?
Yeah, go on.
Howard the Duck.
Oh, man.
I had that ready to go.
I think I'd rather do The Happening, actually.
I think everyone knows now what sort of bullet they dodged.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's it, really. I think we'll say goodbye at this point. And thank you all for listening, even though this cast is now officially an hour and a half longer than the film we're reviewing.
Man.
And we'll see you all next week for The Happening. Okay, take care. Have a good week. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
They do move in herds.